If you're struggling to get motivated to work out, you're not alone. And Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping is here to help. Build muscle, burn fat, and lose weight with Farrell's 10-week challenge starting October 2nd. Farrell's combines kickboxing with inclusive strength training and nutrition planning to help you stay on track. Go to fxblincoln.com to sign up, and if you mention the ticket, you'll get a 50% discount. It's the Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping 10-week challenge starting October 2nd with 2 locations in Lincoln.
Get into T.O. Haas Tire and get your vehicle set for any road with the all-new BF Goodrich Trail Terrain TA tire. And get ready to save, because right now you can get $70 back after online submission when you buy a set of 4. Or get $50 back with the purchase of any other set of 4 BF Goodrich passenger or light truck tires. See redemption instructions at tohostire.com. Offer expires October 4th, 2021. Void where prohibited.
T.O. Haas Tire and Auto, a tradition of trust.
What is a clinical trial?
They are medical research studies where volunteers receive potential drugs or other study treatments, so researchers and healthcare providers can learn how well they work.
What is a COVID-19 clinical trial?
They are for people who have recently tested positive for COVID and can potentially produce treatments to benefit millions of people.
How can you find out more?
CombatCovid.hhs.gov has information on trials for non-hospitalized and hospitalized people with COVID. CombatCovid.hhs.gov.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. 93.7 The Ticket sports news go now.
I'm Enrique Alvarez-Clary. Nebraska football enters the heart of Big Ten play on Saturday when they head up north to the Woodshed to take on Michigan State. The Spartans' running game is led by Kenneth Walker III, who is currently leading the nation in rushing yards at 493 in 3 games, while averaging 8.6 yards per carry. Defensive coordinator Eric Chenander spoke yesterday about the challenges that Walker presents for the Blackshirts.
Obviously, he's a put together really well, explosive kid. He's going to challenge your leverage. In some of these guys, they want to get to the edge and get the ball at the field. He wants to challenge your leverage and make a cut and really go. Hasn't been a lot of single tackles on this guy, so a lot of hats need to get to the football. But obviously, he's leading the NCAA in rushing. I think he's got like 9 yards to carry.
That game in East Lansing kicks off at 6 p.m. on Saturday and can be seen on FS1. Nebraska volleyball opens up conference play today with a trip to Northwestern to take on the 5-6 Wildcats. The 12th-ranked Huskers are looking to break a 3-match losing streak when the game begins at 8 p.m. The match can be seen on BTN and heard on the Huskers Radio Network. And for all the latest sports news and updates, keep it tuned right here to 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is Tom and Bock, coming at you live from Koppel Chevrolet GMC Studios in the heart of Lincoln, America, on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Tom Stevens.
We failed, but I thought it was a great effort. I thought that the plan was laid out perfectly.
Jake Bockoven.
I'm not sure I get my point across properly. I'm sure I don't do a good job of explaining what I mean.
Tom and Bock starts now.
Look at us go. We're already into Wednesday. How do you spell it?
Wednesday.
Wednesday, as DP used to say. Winsday. Wednesday.
It's a tough one.
It's not easy, but we'll get through, baby. Halfway through, more than halfway through already. First day of fall. Where would you rank your seasons? Where would fall rank in your seasons if you're drafting?
Fall's number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Fall's my time of the year. I love it.
You've never been happier.
Oh no, every fall. Yes,
I would draft fall third.
Really?
Summer number 1, because you can play all the golf you want.
Spring
number 2, you can play a little golf. Fall number 3, because you can play a lot of golf. And you actually, I think I would rank it higher as far as golf is concerned, because you can get on the courses a lot easier in the fall than you can in the spring. And then winter last.
Yeah, winter's awful.
I don't like winter.
It's like the longest season, it feels like.
The only reason I'm a little tentative with fall is that it leads into winter. But today is the first day of fall, and the leaves are changing. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I just love. I mean, football season. Halloween's my favorite holiday.
Is it really?
Yeah, but it's kind of holiday.
Do you dress
season.
up on Halloween?
If I have somewhere to go, not usually anymore. Not
I won a contest. I won a contest on Halloween as Bo Pelini. I dressed up as Bo Pelini.
Yeah.
And Heidi went as my cat.
As your cat?
As my cat. Remember the whole cat thing, of course.
That's right. Okay, Bo Pelini's cat. I see what you're saying.
Bo Pelini's cat. That was the thing, and we
won.
Yeah. We won. We were great. We knocked it out of the park that night. But I do look a lot like Bo Pelini with the hat on and the big nose. I got the Bo Pelini nose.
You gotta find somebody to play Carl next time.
That's right. Instead of bringing Heidi, I'll bring Carl. You could be Carl.
You think I look like Carl?
I don't know. Well, that's why you wear a costume.
That's right.
You dress yourself up to make yourself look like Carl. Although you don't want to be Carl these days.
Yeah, Carl's had a rough.
He's had a rough couple of months. Carl Pelini. I think he might be out of the coaching business pretty soon. But it's going to be a good day today. Although I did see that McDonald's is dropping their plastic toys.
I can't believe that. That's part of McDonald's.
Well, I think it's a green thing, trying to be more green. They're going to do cardboard toys or something.
It's a paper toy.
They're going to paper. You can recycle the paper toys, I guess, more easily than the plastic toys.
But McDonald's whole thing was, and I think it's lesser now. They're kind of more business McDonald's instead of the the happy looking. But it's the whole thing is catch you at childhood, and then whenever you smell McDonald's, you think you're childhood and you want McDonald's.
That's right. I mentioned my Calamity Kate experience.
Yeah.
When you went on Cartoon Corral, Calamity Kate was the host. You got McDonald's hamburgers.
Did you?
So my earliest childhood memories were McDonald's. But you didn't get a plastic. I don't remember getting a plastic toy. It wasn't a Happy Meal. It was just they gave you the hamburger.
Wasn't it Clemson that won the championship, and then they went to the White House and got a bunch of Big Macs?
That's right. Because that's all he could do. I mean,
the government was shut down. Yeah,
that's right. The government was shut down. They couldn't bring in catering, so Trump just said
to McDonald's.
Yeah, he went into his own pocket, and no Happy Meals, just a bunch of Big Macs.
Yeah, which is nice.
Well, I mean, quite frankly, in college, your menu experience is not diverse.
Yeah, that's right.
So you probably eat at McDonald's a lot or Pizza Hut or whatever.
But I think White House is supposed to be like a special experience.
It's supposed to be that was
not necessarily just the same old McDonald's once you win the championship and go to the White House.
Yeah. I thought it was a good gesture.
It was a good gesture, though. It was a good gesture.
What are you, either that or nothing?
He could have not. Yeah, he could have bought nothing.
But he stepped up to the plate and got a McDonald's, and the Clemson. I'm sure Clemson was very happy about that. 464-5685. Love to hear from you guys today on the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the Sutter Heyman text line as well at that same number. Please call. Or also, we are on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. You can see, we'll wave to the camera there, Bock. There we are. Looking good, Billy Ray. You had, before we went on the show, you had a Caleb Lightbourne update.
Yeah, I better look him up. Caleb Lightbourne is like one of the most notorious Nebraska players, I think, because a few of his kicks went backwards and just looked awful. He's somehow still playing college football. I know everybody just continues to get eligibility, but he was actually, he transferred to Oregon State, followed Mike Riley there. I don't know if that went well or not, but I looked up his stats this year. He's with Idaho. And he's actually not doing too bad against Indiana. He had 4 punts over 50 yards.
He had a big leg.
He did.
He just couldn't control it. Of course, we went through that Bruce Reed experience. Was he a Bruce Reed recruit?
I think he was part of Bruce Reed.
I think he was the highest paid special teams coordinator in the history of college football. Paid $500,000 to fail miserably. It reminds me a little bit of what Nebraska's going through right now. I mean, they're still struggling in the kicking game, obviously. They did have the Big Ten kicker of the year last year, but they've struggled in the punting game, although Pristip was pretty good. He kicked a 51-yarder and a 50-yarder, but Lightbourne never did wrestle the job away from a number of other guys.
He had a kickoff go backwards, isn't that right? Or was it the punt? I mean, he had a few of them that were just so embarrassing for any punter or kicker.
Yeah. It's depressing watching Nebraska's special teams.
He's got he against Indiana. He had 5 or no. His long was 65, but he had he had 7
What
punts.
happens if he makes All-Pro in the
4
NFL?
over 50. I don't think that's going to happen.
You never know.
He averaged 40 yards a punt at Oregon State, which is not that good.
Some people think that Trump is a legend for bringing McDonald's into the White House.
It's something they'll never forget.
That's on the radar today, but we'd love to hear from you. Anything that we might talk about today. We're really excited because Hondo Carpenter is on the show.
That's right.
He's no longer a part of the Michigan State press, right? The media.
I think he might still have something to do with Spartan Nation, the website, but we'll have to ask him. I think he's down in Las Vegas now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Okay, so it'll be fun to have him on. I want to ask him about the whole woodshed thing. They've changed apparently the name of their, the horseshoe, the big house. Now it's the woodshed at Michigan State.
Which is like they dug it out of some press clippings from years and years ago when somebody tried to name it that the first time.
Saban was the first, I think, to do it. And I don't know if it ever caught on. I just
don't think it's caught on.
I don't remember ever hearing the woodshed before.
But I'm glad that Mel Tucker, he didn't just make it up this week. He went back in the Michigan State history, which we can mock it all we want, but at least he found something there. And I'm loving it. I mean, Mel Tucker's building this game up. I love that guy as a coach. And it's fun to be built up. It doesn't necessarily feel like, Nebraska's coming off a close game, but they don't feel like the program that's in the position for Michigan State to make this their big game. It's like usually you think about the old Big 8 opponents. We talked about the Big 10. They're not going to respect Nebraska as much because they weren't beaten over the years or whatever. Michigan State, for some reason, still sees Nebraska as a huge victory if they get it.
Yeah. I remember Kirk Herbstreit back in the day saying Nebraska took Florida to the woodshed and how good it felt for somebody to say that, because that's what you felt when you were watching that game. They literally took them to the woodshed. And I think it's a great nickname. The only problem with when you name your stadium something like that, then you have to win. I mean, the big house is the big house. The horseshoe is the horseshoe.
Yeah.
But the woodshed, if you're not taking people to the woodshed, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, if you're getting beat by a lot at the woodshed.
If you're getting taken to the woodshed at the woodshed,
yeah.
If Nebraska takes them to the woodshed, it's not going to look so good.
But Mel Tucker's turning that thing around, and I was really excited for the hire because I thought he might be able to. And I also thought that, coming off their best coach they've ever had, that Michigan State wasn't in the worst possible position. Now, they've had offensive years, even last year, that have just been abysmal. And you weren't going to win a whole lot of games that way. But they look like they're pretty close now, obviously ranked in the top 25, nation's leading rusher, and maybe that Spartan dog defense is going to come back. That's what you don't hear too much about when they're losing either. The Spartan dog defense. I mean, they have some history there, some fun there. In fact,
their defense isn't very good. I mean,
well,
they're good in the red zone, but I looked through their numbers. They really don't do anything particularly well, other than they stop people from scoring. But Nebraska's actually better in that category. I think Michigan State is 35th or 36th. Nebraska's 26th. That's 15 points a game. They're at 17 points a game. So
that's pretty good.
They don't do anything great in the defensive scheme. They're really good offensively.
Yeah.
They run the ball. They're 11th in the country running the ball. They're 15th, I think, in total offense. They're a good offensive team. So you would like to see Nebraska not get taken to the woodshed.
But Mel Tucker's a defensive coach, so I think the trajectory on that thing is if you can keep the offense where it is, maybe keep your coordinators around, and then that defense build it up over the years. That's probably a good sign that they can get even better, considering their head coach's strength isn't the strength of their team right now.
The woodshed might be full of termites. That's funny. On the text line 464-5685. Of course, Bock loves Mel Tucker. He loves annoying coaches.
Yeah, I do tend to like coaches, animated coaches.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, you like weird things about college football. You don't like score fests. You don't like high scoring games.
No.
You loved Georgia versus Clemson.
Yes,
that was the best college football game of the century for you.
Only touchdown was a defensive touchdown. That was sweet.
You're a little.
That's why I like watching Iowa football.
Speaking of college football, we're going to break down the most underrated and overrated teams. We'll pick like 10. And break them down, overrated, underrated. If you want to do your own category, I'll just do it, and you could react to it, Bock.
Yeah.
Bock stops today. I'm guessing Michigan State related.
Yeah, most notable alumni. And I've tried to stretch it out to not include most athletes, but I included one that going on along with our theme this week of you hating kickers. I had to include one of the greatest kickers of all time.
I hate kickers, but I do. I liked Alex Henry. I like really good kickers.
Yeah.
Nebraska's had a few. They were kicker U, and DP used to fight me on that like tooth and nail. But the last 20 years, the best thing they've done is kick the ball outside the last 5 or 6.
How long can you hang on to that? Because to me, like Penn State's always going to be linebacker U, even though they haven't had like the great line. I mean, they had last year. They had Mike Parsons.
Nebraska was the pipeline.
Yeah.
That when you think of the great teams of the 70s, 80s, and 90s, it was the pipeline. Great offensive linemen.
Yeah.
And that's what it should be. Instead, Barry Alvarez came here, coached here, and took it to Wisconsin. I mean, I think of the pipeline in the Big Ten, it's definitely Wisconsin.
It's not at Nebraska anymore. You're right. I mean, that's phased out. That's not a thing anymore. It's history. That's all that is.
That's what Nebraska needs to become again. Not kicker U's embarrassing.
That can help too. I'll take any U you get. If you talk about the best in the nation in anything.
Well, I honestly think that Scott Frost came here and thought, kickers, why do I need them? They're a nuisance. They just get in the way. I average 48 points a game.
Yeah.
And that's what they did at UCF and even at Oregon. It was always in the 40s. Why do I need a kicker? Heck, they went for 2 half the time at Oregon.
Yeah.
That I really think that was part of the thought process. It's a stuff that gets in the way. And then you realized the Big Ten is all about the tiniest details. And there's no tinier detail than getting special teams right. And Nebraska has
it. So far away from that, it's not even funny. It's like going in reverse, maybe, or just stuck in the same awful position and spin. It's just amazing how awful the special teams is. Your 4th year in as a head coach.
And I think back, it can happen. It can go from terrible to really good. Bo Pelini did it.
Yeah.
And all he did was take over the special teams, and then he added a guy like DPE, the best special teams threat in the entire country, which kind of helps.
Well, then it can go the opposite way right away. I mean, that's what happened when Bruce Reed followed Bo Pelini as special teams coordinator. DPE disappeared. He went from being the best punt return kick returner in the nation.
He got injured.
Well, they also didn't block very well for him. I mean, the Bruce Reed special teams was a disaster as well.
Remember the celebration in the end zone? DPE gets injured. I think it was Purdue.
Yeah.
And he was never quite the same. And now maybe he's more of the same. I mean, he's gotten his shots in the NFL. But that's what you kind of need. But it hasn't mattered. Mo Washington, I thought, was potentially a great special teams performer. And he had a couple really good kick returns, but they never blocked for him. So you're right. You got to block. You got to do everything. And it's detail. I don't think there's any more detail than in special teams. Beamer ball. And I would love to see Scott Frost take that over. I mean, that's what turned around Nebraska. I understand defensive coach Bo Pelini, so naturally you would kind of take ownership of special teams. But I would love to see Scott Frost maybe give up at some point some of his play calling duties and have more ownership in special teams.
But even that, I mean, even like it kind of combines the problem. That offensive line, like there's no part of special teams other than punting. I think they made the good adjustment with switching the punter. Pristip seems to be a little bit better than Trini to me. And he had a decent performance, just 2 punts in, so you don't know. And we saw him last year. He's not a great punter, but he's serviceable. But the offensive line getting blown up, of course, on the blocked kick, but on the other ones too. It's just like that's both your problems, offensive line and special teams combined into one to attempt field goals where the guy's missing. I mean, that's just all your problems right there.
DPE put up some really good videos. DP.
Good Morning Personnel.
Not the Morning Personnel. DP, not DPE, put up some really good videos this week about the blocking in special teams in the Oklahoma game. And you're right. Even during the Culp made field goal from 51, it was not good blocking. And I'm surprised, actually, it wasn't blocked. It should have probably been blocked. The blocking is just awful. And maybe a part of it is the athletic ability, obviously, of Oklahoma State. But they've got some major problems that they obviously have not fixed. And if you think it's just going to happen against Oklahoma, you're probably wrong. It's probably going to be a recurring theme. Going down the wire
so far.
I woke up this morning, Bock. I don't know if this has ever happened to you. I woke up this morning. A lot of times I'll wear the same jeans. Do you do this? And like you'll wear the same jeans for like 2 or 3 days. Yeah. Not the same underwear, the same jeans.
Right. Yeah. Very important.
And I put on my jeans and I pulled them up and I just noticed there was a sock caught in my jeans And so, like, I pulled the sock out of my pants. I had a sock in my pants.
For how long is that? You have it right now on you?
It's like here. I'll show you. I'll show it to the text line.
Yeah, you brought it to work with you.
It's right here.
That's yesterday's sock.
I was going to run it out to the car, but I didn't have time before the show started.
Yeah.
So there's the sock.
Yeah, that happens once in a while.
Does that mean I'm getting really old?
No.
That's never happened in my entire lifetime.
Has it really?
I've never remembered that happening in my entire. That's happened to you.
Yeah, that's happened to me.
That's
probably a few times before.
So
yeah,
that's a thing that's happened to you, and you're a lot younger than me.
Yeah.
Oh.
You're not getting older. It's just a mistake. It happens. It's okay.
I just hope that that I'm not putting my underwear on the outside of my pants by this time next week.
If you accidentally bring your underwear along, that might be a sign of getting old. I think you should probably notice that.
I'm the old guy in this relationship, in case you didn't notice. 464-5685. Anything there that I should read on the text line? Not necessarily. But we'll get to your text throughout the day. And volleyball tonight. I do want to talk a little bit about Husker volleyball. It's been bad. And one of the explanations, Tanya Taki had this explanation for us the other day, and I thought, yeah, that's reasonable. All these super seniors in volleyball in the Big Ten, and by the way, the Big Ten is a gauntlet. It's just absolutely loaded. There's like 6 teams in the top 25 and some teams on the periphery that are really good. Northwestern's not one of them. Nebraska should kill Northwestern, and if they don't, I'm really discouraged.
Really sound the alarms.
And Iowa's not good. That's their next opponent after that. But super seniors, it's loaded with super seniors, and we know how young Nebraska volleyball is. Even some of the super seniors that are out there are not available, like Lauren Stivrins. And we know Lexi Sun has struggled a little bit. And Maddie Kubek, she's not a super senior, but experienced player. And that makes it makes sense why Nebraska is struggling when you're facing all these experienced, really talented players in the Big Ten.
Yeah, and to me, that makes more sense when you think about it with volleyball, just because there's not necessarily a pro league. I mean, if you're going, there are, but there's not like one giant pro league that you go to. So, unless you're going to, the Olympics or something, one of those teams, or, trying to get involved in professional sand volleyball or something, a lot of those girls would want to stick around for another year, especially if you're really good. So, of all the sports, the super seniors sticking around in volleyball makes sense. And we focused in on Nebraska doing it and have this All-American and that All-American. You think, well, that's great. They're going to dominate, but everybody's got their best players coming back most likely.
Yeah, and it's a big difference when your best players are young and talented and 18 versus their best players being 22, 23 and really talented. There's probably no more dramatic change in your lifetime than from 17, 18 to 22, 23 physically. I think it's helped Nebraska. And now they haven't benefited from it on the football side. I thought Illinois was going to benefit from it. They really haven't. I think they have more super seniors than anybody in the Big Ten. It hasn't helped.
They're almost 2-0 in the Big Ten.
Yeah, they're almost
field goal short of it.
They should have beaten Maryland.
Yeah.
But I do think that's an explanation. If you're really worried about Husker volleyball, that's a big reason. It's not just freshmen. They're not redshirting in Nebraska. They're coming in and playing right away. And volleyball competition in high school is dramatically different from the Big Ten. Breaking news.
And I know it's just kind of funny that, it's Nebraska volleyball where you don't expect any loss anytime. So 3 straight feels like you're just down in the dumps, but
never mind their top 15 teams.
Yeah, they're still number 12 and every team that's beat them is pretty respected. So I think they'll come around but you're right. As far as just thinking it's going to be a cakewalk, there's going to be a lot of losses this year because the Big Ten's loaded as it usually is. And maybe even more so this season. So it's going to be tough to repeat. But again, I'll always go back to this. I just think John Cook generally has his teams ready around tournament time. It was a shame last year that Stivrins was not 100% or not, healthy going into it, because I thought that team, if Stivrins was healthy, could have beaten Texas, and obviously Texas was running up to Kentucky. So I think they could have gone the whole way and won that thing if they were fully healthy.
Rod says this: I don't think Coach Cook would use the super seniors as an excuse. Final Four with Fecky as a freshman and a national championship. Yeah, but they had some quality, experienced players around her. And I think the freshmen are going to play a big role if Nebraska bounces back, or if they make a Final Four and make a run for a national title. The freshmen are going to be a big part of that. But you would also like to see the super seniors, Lexi Sun, who's been dramatically less of what she has been. She's not hitting close to what she was. And then you get Lauren Stivrins back, another super senior, and you'd like to think Nebraska would be dramatically better. So we'll watch that game tonight. It's going to be on BTN. Somebody says it depends where the sock is placed. Because I woke up, put on my pants, there was a sock in it. It wasn't where you think it might have been.
Yeah,
it wasn't
good.
Strategically placed anywhere.
It was along the pant line, right?
It wasn't. It was an accident. It just makes me worried that I'm going to show up, doing stuff like that on a regular basis. So remind me.
If it becomes a problem, I think then maybe it is.
Yeah. Well, remind me. Hey, you got your sock, and it looks like there's a sock in your pants again. If I do that again tomorrow, then it might become a trend.
I don't know how to search or to see if there might be a sock in your pants. I'll just leave that one to you, probably.
That's probably. I don't want you. That's probably a good.
You let me know if there's a sock in your pants. That's all I can.
All right. Just happy to see me. Let's get to break and come back with Hondo Carpenter. We'll talk some Michigan State football with Hondo. We'll do it next.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. This is Tom and Bock. 93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Expecting sunny skies and a beautiful start to the fall season. We'll top out at 73, a light south wind at around 10. Clear tonight and cool with a low down to 46. More of the same tomorrow. Will be mostly sunny with a high near 80. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're in this together, and we will get through this together. The vaccines are tested effective and needed.
Welcome to the clinic with Charm.
Get your COVID-19 vaccine so we can do this. And this. And this.
We are now boarding flight.
Together again, because we got through it together. This message sponsored by the Helmsley Charitable Trust, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Allo knows businesses need reliable communication, both at the office and at home. Now more than ever. Just listen to Bill Mitchner from Lighthouse.
Before we'd have breaks in service, especially for internet, but we've never had any issues with Allo. It's always been there and available when we needed it.
At Allo, supporting your business is our business. To get your free quote and switch today, visit allofiber.com/workfast or call 402-480-6685 today.
Get your touchdown tan in Max Tan with unlimited tanning until 2022, starting at just $59. Summer may be over, but your tan doesn't have to be. Tan for the season, football season, at any of the 4 local Lincoln Max Tan locations. Supporting local is the name of the game at Max Tan.
Wakey, wakey, new breakfast at Casey's.
Wakey, wakey, new breakfast at Casey's. Do, 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 do.
Wakey, wakey, breakfast, Casey's.
Casey's new breakfast, featuring delicious handmade sandwiches like this signature handheld made with our fresh made-from-scratch dough. Buy any hot breakfast item and get a coffee for just $1. Casey's, here for good.
This is your High School Minute.
With your Southeast Community College High School Minute, I'm Nick Sainers. In high school basketball, Creighton Prep forward Luke Younger's committed to UNO on Sunday. Back on the football field on Friday night, number 1 Bellevue West fell at home to Millard South 42-24. In the first half alone, Millard South scored touchdowns of 16, 60, 65, and 70 yards, and only allowed 7 Thunderbird points in the second half. Lincoln Southeast lost on the road at number 6 Creighton Prep 41-7. Prep running back Charmar Brown led all ball carriers with 12 carries and 87 yards while finding the end zone twice. On the other side, Husker football commit Jake Applegate had 8 receptions for 131 yards and a score for Lincoln Southeast. And lastly, in Class B action, Norris hosted Omaha Roncalli on Friday evening. The Titans were able to get on top early and never looked back, topping Roncalli 44-0 and improving to 2-2 on the season. Norris moves on to face Beatrice this Friday night. This has been your High School Minute, sponsored by Southeast Community College with locations in Lincoln, Beatrice, and Milford. Learn more today at southeast.edu.
Liberty First Credit Union is here to help you save time and money. Get a consolidation loan and conveniently combine all of your loans into one, leaving you with one fixed payment and one low-rate loan. Not a member? That's okay. Join Liberty First Credit Union at any of the 4 Lincoln locations, Seward, and in Omaha at 108th and L Street. Start saving with Liberty First Credit Union. Apply for a consolidation loan now at libertyfirstcu.com today. Approval required. Equal opportunity lender. Liberty First Credit Union. Banking with purpose.
Ready for this?
1, 2, 3, up.
At Madonna Rehabilitation Hospitals, we help rebuild the lives of people who've experienced traumatic illness and injury. With clinical expertise, cutting-edge research, and innovative technology, Madonna delivers world-class rehabilitation for adults and children. We restore hope one step, one word, and one breakthrough at a time, so our patients and their families can have confidence when we tell them, now you can. Learn more at Madonna.org.
Tailgating wasn't just meant for weekends. Join 93.7 The Ticket every Tuesday at Chick-fil-A for Tailgate Tuesdays. Scan your app with any purchase on Tuesdays and you'll be entered to win a tailgate meal for 15 people. That's chicken nuggets, fresh fruit, and iced tea or lemonade. Winners will be contacted each Wednesday, and you can come see Tom and Bock from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the 48th and O location or at South Point each week. It's Tailgate Tuesdays all season long at Chick-fil-A in Lincoln. Back to Tom and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Efforting Hondo Carpenter. His phone number, we got it. But I think he's busy at this point, but we will get him on. I do want to talk to him about Michigan State football. He does cover Michigan State football for Spartan Nation. He's also doing some work these days for the Raiders. Good time to be a Raiders fan. They're 2-0 and looking good. Derek Carr has played very well. And, of course, they won that thriller with the Ravens week 1. They win again week 2. So good time to cover both Michigan State football and Raider football. Mel Tucker, Box, seems like an interesting dude. If you've heard one of his press conferences, and now he's coming out with the woodshed thing, which I kind of like. He talks about getting people into the deep water. He said this last week when he was talking about Miami, getting people into the deep water where they swim. Basically, I just coaches are weird and interesting characters anyway, the way they talk. But Mel Tucker is a different cat in a good way, and I mean that in a complimentary way. But he talks almost like a defensive coordinator. You mentioned he has a defensive background. He just seems like a tough dude and a little bit scary to me. I don't know. But of course, he had Nebraska's number when he was at Colorado.
Yeah, and I think that's I think for some reason there's this just okay feel of maybe that Nebraska Michigan State games have gone well over the past several times that they've met up. Well, the Mel Tucker games have not gone well. They've been two of the most disappointing games in the Scott Frost tenure so far. So far Mel Tucker's got Scott Frost's number. Hopefully in a new uniform that will change.
Yeah, I think he's an interesting dude. I'm wondering if anything we see in the first 3 weeks of the season is real. Maybe that's a good place to start with Hondo Carpenter. He covers Michigan State football for Spartan Nation. Hi, Hondo. How are you?
Hey, gentlemen. As always, it's such an honor to be on with you guys. You're two of the best in Husker Nation, and thanks for having me.
Well, let's start with this. They're 3-0, and they have 2 really nice victories, at least one over Miami, and we'll find out how good Miami is. Do you think what you're seeing from Michigan State is real?
Well, absolutely. It's been 3 games. It's not like it's one. So I do think it's real. I agree with you. I think the Northwestern win personally is even better than the Miami win. But yeah, I do think it's completely real. At the same time, let's not pretend and act like they've been playing Alabama.
Yeah.
And they haven't, but they've played, you can only win the ones that are on your schedule.
Yeah.
I remember years ago, and I'm older than both of you probably, but people would rip Tom Osborne in Nebraska because they would go beat people 70-0. Well, the point is they beat people who were on their schedule. and they beat people who are there. It's the best they can be is 3-0. I think they are what they are. But I think if we take time before the interview's over to give a prediction, you may be a little surprised what I think of this weekend.
Wow.
Oh, nice tease.
Nice. I like it.
We're interested in Michigan State's rise. I mean, Mel Tucker's obviously, the first year kind of get the pass. The second year, he's off and running. And a big part of that is that running game. Kenneth Walker leading the nation in rushing right now. After last year, Michigan State only averaged 2 yards per rush. How did they have such a big transformation? It has to be more than just bringing, a talented running back in, doesn't it?
It does. First of all, a lot of people need to remember Mark D'Antonio did not leave the program in good condition. In fact, he left it in terrible condition. And let me go back and explain. We reported a year before he did it that we were hearing rumblings that Mark wanted to retire after the second signing day to force Michigan State to hire Mike Tressel as his successor. So with that was out there, people knew that we said it. We were mocked for it. But we stood right by it because the source was so close to the situation. And in the end, Mark D'Antonio, days before the second signing day, found out that the Michigan State athletic director had hired a search firm. They were already looking for his replacement, and he quit.
Yeah.
Now, you can say he quit and was ticked off. That's, the total opinion. But at his press conference, when somebody has to say, hey, this is supposed to be a celebration, it probably didn't end well.
Yeah.
And I will go on and tell you this, that the recruiting was terrible. It was horrible. Mel Tucker then comes in. He literally leaves a day or two before signing day. Mel Tucker gets the job. There is no opportunity for Mel to sign one recruit, not one.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, there were a ton of recruits in Mark D'Antonio's last class that nobody wanted.
Wow.
And so, or nobody of Big Ten caliber. So Mel comes in, and then because of how Mark D'Antonio had done things, scheduling spring so late, many people believe because he thought Mike was going to get the job. He then COVID hit, and there was no spring football. And then there was no fall football because of the Big Ten Conference being literally run by, in my opinion, a group of moronic leadership. Okay.
Yeah.
Then when football finally came back, it was the first time his coaches got to be with the players. So last year, in my opinion, was a wash. They still beat Michigan. So anytime in East Lansing you beat Michigan, it cannot be a bad year, period.
Yeah.
And so, it was a great first year for him, but this is his first year.
Yeah.
So he's taken an SEC approach. He invited several players to go look for opportunities elsewhere, and they obliged. And, didn't kick them off. Just, you're not going to play here. You're not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're going to honor your scholarship, but we would encourage you to go. And they did.
Yeah.
And he went and hit the transfer portals. And he went and they watched, to his staff's credit, they were working 110 hours a day. I know of one family where the wife was really upset because her husband was working so many hours in the off season.
Yeah.
And he had to explain, honey, we got to fix this. And so they watched hundreds of hours, thousands of hours of tape, looked at the transfer portal, and they looked for two things: guys that were extremely talented, but guys that weren't attitude issues. They didn't want to bring in another team's attitude problem.
Yeah.
So Kenneth Walker is just one example. Goes to Wake Forest. He's a guy they liked when they were at Colorado, but the problem is his running style didn't fit Wake Forest. He was, when people asked him, why are you leaving? I love the place. It's a great place. They're great people. I just don't think I fit. There was no attitude, and they brought in a ton of those guys. Now, I'm going to give you another little insight. There were a lot of coaches nationally, because I'm friends with them, who were making fun of Mel Tucker, calling it transfer you. But now he's gone in there, and he's brought in a lot of guys. They're recruiting exceptionally well for the future, and they're beating people, and they're doing what they have to do. And so, yeah, I'm a believer. They've taken an SEC approach to recruiting, to the roster, and to everything else, and I think it's been a good thing for Michigan State.
Hondo Carpenter, one of our favorites from Spartan Nation. He's an interesting dude. I don't know a ton about him, even with him being at Colorado, who's just there for 1 year. He's replacing a legend. We know how hard that is to do, but he's already named East Lansing, the stadium, the woodshed. He talks in a different way. Who is he, though? Who is Mel Tucker?
Well, let me say this in his defense, and I'm not a defender. He did not name it the woodshed.
Yeah.
Michigan State's called it the woodshed for years, going back to Nick Saban.
Yeah.
And so that's he didn't do that. He's just being more vocal about it.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you who Mel Tucker is. He's a guy that I think is a very good football mind, but he's also a guy that, stood up and told a bunch of donors in Colorado, I'm not going there. And they were negotiating a contract.
Yeah.
I have a friend who was at that meeting, and I was writing the story. I was sitting at the Champaign, Illinois. Michigan State was playing a road game, and I was getting that the deal was almost done. So I'm calling my friend, who happens to be a friend of Mel, saying, hey, I'm hearing the deal is done. And my friend said to me, he goes, Hondo, I'm at a dinner with him. I promise you, if he leaves for Michigan State, he's not truthful, and I know he's truthful. I just heard him tell this.
Yeah.
So literally just maybe an hour after that conversation, I get the final call from a source at Michigan State, deal's done, report it. And I broke the story. And so, I mean, to me, I think that has to concern people.
Yeah.
And, I'm going to say this. I like Mel personally. I do. I think he's a very good football mind. But that's something I think, that because of his track record, he moves around a lot, that we are clear that if an opportunity comes, he'll take it. Now, in his defense, Nick Saban is that way. And I like Nick a lot. And I don't think you can better people. I'm a free market capitalist. I still get along with people in Nebraska. and I don't have a problem with people bettering themselves and making more money. I do have a problem with people bettering themselves like James Franklin, but telling his Vanderbilt players that I'm not going to Penn State when I knew that Penn State had already submitted his name to the NCAA for approval because of where they were at. They couldn't hire a coach without the NCAA's approval. And so you may remember at James Franklin's first Big Ten media days, I told him, I said, James, you told your Vanderbilt players you weren't leaving when you and I both know you were already accepted the job and were waiting for NCAA approval. Then you go to Penn State and tell the people you had better facilities than Vanderbilt. And you and I both know that's not true. So are you disingenuous or are you a liar? And I know that people get disingenuous. And I've been disingenuous. I'm not sitting here trying to be perfect. So, but that's something that sits with me about Mel. He's moved around a lot, which is not a bad thing. That means people want him. But the way he left Colorado, I think people need to remember, because what if an opportunity comes from a school that, in a place that he wants to go, that's willing to pay him more than the $6 million he's making? I think he would jump. I just would hope he would handle it differently. But I think he's a great coach. And I will tell you this, he has, in my opinion, one of the best staffs in the Big Ten, tremendous staff. He showed a lot of guts. He went out and hired great coaches. He didn't care, how in the world that they made, a lot of coaches look over their back. What if they look good? They're going to make me look bad. He went out and hired a top-notch staff. If he leaves, I hope Scotty Hazelton gets the head coaching job. But he's a great coach. I give him all the credit in the world, and his players love him.
Now, Hondo, one of the reasons the ticket following loves you so much is not just because of your knowledge, so knowledgeable about the Spartans, but of your respect for Nebraska. It's been a few years since I've talked to you. How have you seen the Scott Frost era kind of play out? It's obviously been disappointing to a lot of Husker fans who thought that this was the answer, and now we're kind of at a real big turning point this Saturday to see, kind of which way it goes, and big turning point for both programs, I'd say.
I don't think it's a big turning point for Michigan State. And I don't mean that to disrespect you. I really don't. But let's talk about Nebraska. I don't think Scott Frost, barring a season of, unless it's 2 or 3 wins, I don't think he's in any trouble. I think Scott Frost has had to go through and really gut Nebraska. And you guys know this. I've said it for years. I was on radio in Los Angeles yesterday and talking about USC being a Mount Rushmore of schools in college football. And the host asked me, well, who are the others? And when I said Nebraska, they laughed at me. So I just said it yesterday in LA. I've said it nationally, and I've said it in Nebraska. It's a Mount Rushmore job, but it hadn't been treated like that. You guys go and you get a Bo Pelini, who was an embarrassment to that university. Embarrassment. And you made some other hires that were not good. So Scott came in, and you know what? Scott has the pedigree. Let's not act like he can't coach. And he's had to go in and gut Nebraska. Did it go as fast as everybody wanted it to go? No. Has it gone the way everyone expected? No. I thought last year would be a better year. Last year to me was the first disappointing year. But I'm not giving up on Scott. I think that I clearly, if he doesn't win this year, I think next year has to be the year that he gets the team to a bowl and then begins the ascension process up. But if you're Nebraska, I'm going to ask you what happened a few years ago. You know, they ended up having to go hire Rich Rodriguez because no one wanted the job. Then they go and they get rid of Rich and they bring in Brady because nobody wanted the job. Then Harbaugh goes, and what an embarrassment he is. Dear God, I just love what's going on in Ann Arbor. And, okay, but they had to ask themselves last year, if we fired Jim, who are we going to go get? And if you're Nebraska, and I'm going to say this because I've always liked the Nebraska Cornhuskers. I've always been a fan of that program, almost went there. And I'm just going to say this about Nebraska. You are a Mount Rushmore school. But the problem is there isn't Nick Saban's lining up to go to Lincoln. You've went out, you've experimented. You brought in the Big Ten, the NFL guy. You go in and bring in the Bo Pelini type guy. You go get the guy who I thought was a good hire previous. But now you've got your favorite son, a proven recruiter and a proven coach. This guy's proven. And if you want to get rid of him, that's fine. That's your choice. That's your decision. That's your fan voices. But who are you going to go get? Tell me, because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Other proven coaches are going to be like, wow, and Scott was their guy. I mean, you're not Michigan. You're better than that. You know, a lot of people didn't want the Michigan job because of the message boards and the fans and the expectations. You know what? I have never once heard people not want the Nebraska job because of fans and expectations. And so I'm going to warn you a little bit to guard against that. Yeah. You're an elite school that hasn't been performing elite lately. That sucks. It's not right. College football is good when Nebraska's great. This is an elite program in a great city, an awesome university. And so, you know what? If Scott doesn't get this turned around by next season, then I think you definitely have to take a look. Yeah. But to turn on your guy right now, to me, doesn't make sense. And I'm going to share this with you. I've had a lot of people making fun of me, thinking I don't know what I'm talking about. I am well aware that the game is in East Lansing this weekend. But I want to talk to you about what I call the Husker atmosphere. If you watched that Oklahoma game on Saturday and you were in any way being impartial, you saw a group of kids that went and fought Oklahoma. Your offense and defense were good enough to win. Adrian Martinez had his best game. There was great coaching on the Nebraska side. Yeah, you don't have Oklahoma talent, and you were in that game. You didn't see those kids who quit. So any moron calling in saying the kids have quit on Scott Frost, go down into your basement with your girlfriend whose last name is .jpeg. If you don't want to support Scott, that's fine. You don't have to, and I don't mind. But what I am going to tell you is this. Don't come on the radio and just make stuff up. Don't come on and say, well, gee, Mom, like the guy from The Hangover, where's my dessert? I'm calling the radio show. Right. Better to be thought a fool than open your mouth and prove it. Oh. But what I will tell you is you saw a group of kids fighting for their coach. And I think what's going to happen is that Husker atmosphere. I think there's going to be Husker fans. I know they got 2,500 tickets, which is not much. But Husker fans always find ways to get tickets on the secondary market. I think the kids are mad. I think they're fighting for Scott. I know a couple kids on that team. So I've got a little bit more insight on what's gone on. And I think they're going to go in there. I think Michigan State's a good football team, but I still think they're rebuilding. And I think you're going to see Nebraska, with after what you saw from Oklahoma, be angry. And I think on a last-second field goal, Nebraska wins this game.
On a field goal. Wow. On a field goal. A Hondo Carpenter.
Yep. And listen, and remember, I know how bad that is for Nebraska. But my point is, I just think I have a lot of belief in Scott. I have a lot of belief in Mel. I just think these programs are, Nebraska, when you saw them against Oklahoma, and let's not fool ourselves. I'm really happy because I'm a Spartan guy that Michigan State's 3-0. Don't think I'm not excited. But I'm also, my job is to be real and to be truthful. And Michigan State is in Oklahoma. And I think if that same fight goes to East Lansing. As you saw in the Huskers last week, they find a way to win.
That is music to our ears. Hondo Carpenter of Spartan Nation covers Michigan State
And let me
football.
tell you, I made a lot of Spartans pissed off at me this week because of that. I made that prediction. No, I made it all over the country on national radio, national television, Nebraska, Michigan, all over the place. But that's just what I believe.
Yeah.
You can't pick with your heart.
Yeah.
One thing I hope that you guys have always respected me over the years is every time you guys ask, I come on your show and I tell you the truth. And there have been times when I said I think Michigan State's going to come in and handle Nebraska, and I've been right. And I've also told you when I thought they were going to win, and they did.
Yeah.
My job is to tell the truth, and I saw a Nebraska team with no quit. I don't know the injuries, but if they're healthy, I do expect them to win it with a field goal because I think Scott's going to say something. He's going to make a statement to his special teams. I believe in you. Get your ass out there and kick it.
Hey, Hondo, thanks for the time. Great stuff as always. We appreciate it.
I appreciate you, gentlemen. You're two of the best.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Hondo Carpenter from Spartan Nation. He's always got plenty to say, that's for sure. And he is picking Nebraska to win in East Lansing. So let's get to break and come back with the blog jog next.
You're listening to Tom and Bock. Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch.
Don't settle for living with pain and discomfort. The therapy experts at Madonna Therapy Plus have enhanced safety protocols in place and are ready right now to help you return to health. Feeling good is vital to your overall well-being. Therapy Plus is open in Omaha and Lincoln for comprehensive physical, speech, and occupational therapy, all with enhanced in-person safety plus new telehealth options. So don't let wellness wait. Learn more and schedule an appointment at therapyplus.madonna.org.
Liberty First Credit Union is here to help you save time and money. Get a consolidation loan and conveniently combine all of your loans into one, leaving you with one fixed payment and one low-rate loan. Not a member? That's okay. Join Liberty First Credit Union at any of the 4 Lincoln locations, Seward, and in Omaha at 108th and L Street. Start saving with Liberty First Credit Union. Apply for a consolidation loan now at libertyfirstcu.com today. Approval required. Equal opportunity lender. Liberty First Credit Union. Banking with purpose.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill has been your go-to in South Lincoln for years, and their second location in downtown Lincoln is now open. Rosie's downtown spot is Lincoln's premier Nebraska party bar with the Sidetrack Band every Friday night of home games and all day for Nebraska home football games. With 34 TVs that are 65 inches or bigger, you'll always have a great view for all the games. Make sure to check out the new Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, now open in downtown Lincoln at 10th and P.
Wakey, wakey, new breakfast at Casey's.
Wakey, wakey, new breakfast at Casey's. Do-do-do-do-do.
Wakey, wakey, breakfast, Casey's.
Casey's new breakfast, featuring delicious handmade sandwiches like this signature handheld made with our fresh made-from-scratch dough. Buy any hot breakfast item and get a coffee for just $1. Casey's, here for good.
Alla knows businesses need reliable communication, both at the office and at home. Now more than ever. Just listen to Bill Mitchner from Lighthouse.
Before we'd have breaks in service, especially for internet, but we've never had any issues with Allo. It's always been there and available when we needed it.
At Allo, supporting your business is our business. To get your free quote and switch today, visit allofiber.com/workfast or call 402-480-6685 today.
Need a better job? Looking for a career? Gaina Trucking and Excavating is what you're looking for. They are a rapidly growing company looking for a heavy mechanic. Gaina Trucking and Excavating offers a team culture with lots of benefits, including 401k, health, annual raises, paid vacation, holidays, and much more. It's a great career opportunity. Want to love what you do? Join the Gaina Trucking team. Apply online at www.gainatrucking.com. That's www.gainatrucking.com.
At Buffalo Wings and Rings, they've crafted a new league of superior chicken sandwiches. Meet the Ringers. It's premium, house-made, beer-battered, fried chicken served Buffalo, Korean, or MVP style. Head to Buffalo Wings and Rings Lincoln and raise a glass to superior chicken. 2 locations at 68th and O and at 40th and Old Cheney. Buffalo Wings and Rings.
This is a Broncos Radio Network update.
Touchdown, Denver! How about that? I like that!
And the Broncos are going to be 2-0 to start a season with both games being on the road for the first time since 2003.
Broncos insider Brandon Cristal. That was Dave Logan's final call on the Broncos Radio Network. They go into Jacksonville, take care of the Jags 23-13. Another big day from QB Teddy Bridgewater, 28-34. 328 yards, a pair of TDs to wideout Tim Patrick and tight end Noah Fant. And maybe he's found a new favorite target.
Teddy steps up, deep ball down the middle of the field. He's got Sutton there, and Sutton makes the catch inside the 20-yard line.
That was for 54 yards. Cortland Sutton, 9 catches, 159 on the day. Von Miller would have the lone sack. And the Broncos defense would also intercept rookie Trevor Lawrence twice, including one from top pick Pat Surtain Jr. The Broncos host the Jets next Sunday.
New owners means new lunch specials at the Fox Bar and Grill. They've just introduced tons of options on their new under $10 lunch menu. Small nachos grande, a classic cheeseburger, 4 boneless or traditional wings and fries, or a small single topping pizza for just $5 each. Try the mushroom Swiss burger or the pepper jack stack burger for just $6. And for just $7, try any of the classic steak Philly, club wrap, grilled chicken salad, or grilled southwestern salad. It's the under $10 lunch menu at the Fox Bar and Grill, just south of 14th and Pine Lake.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to Tom and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
How about that interview from Hondo Carpenter? Good to talk to him again. He used to talk to you guys all the time when we were with Welch.
Yeah.
Came to a couple of our tailgates as well.
Yeah, well, when Michigan State visited Nebraska, he traveled down here. He's a fun, just as fun a guy in person as you would think he is from hearing him on the radio.
Yeah, he's great, to say the least. Big Frank says, listening to Hondo inject the Kool-Aid right into my veins. Let's get a W on Saturday. Michigan State has benefited from an easier than expected schedule. That's possible. This guy is, let's see. This guy is one of the best interviews I've ever heard on your station. Love him as always. Oh, so you do remember him. James talking about Hondo Carpenter. Yes, we used to have him all the time. Hondo loves to gaslight a little bit, Husker fans, but love it. I love it. I mean, he's a complimentary dude. I imagine knows his audience.
Well, you can't go into every room. If he goes to Purdue, talks to Purdue people, you can't tell them they're on the Mount Rushmore of college football.
No, I don't think he would be that dishonest.
So I think there's limitations to what you can do. So I mean, he's a guy that traditionally loves Nebraska football, knows a lot of people around the industry, and like you said, knows some people on the team now. So obviously, has always kind of rooted for the Huskers from afar.
Love Hondo Carpenter. In case you missed it, of course, Bock's Cardinals beat my Vikings because of a missed field goal. But this is how it sounded from the Vikings announcing crew.
High snap, put down. Joseph, come on! It is gone! No, he missed it. Good. Are you kidding me? He missed it right.
He missed it right.
Oh, my kidding.
Oh, my. He missed it right. What a gut punch to a team, Paul, that play after play toward the end fought its way back.
Missed it by like a foot.
And just,
oh my God.
And by the way, he didn't miss it by a foot. There's no reason.
He missed it by a lot.
He missed it by at least 10 feet. And he shouldn't have missed that call. And you have a monitor, even in the radio booth. There's a monitor you can look at if you can't see it very clearly. But I think you get anxious sometimes. You think this is automatic. It's going through.
It's like a 37-yarder.
Yeah, it was an extra point, just 2 yards farther than that. And he'd already missed an extra point. So I don't know how you could have been confident that Greg Joseph was going to make that kick.
He got too caught up in the moment, didn't he?
But I love Paul Allen. I remember he just wears his heart on his sleeve. And he's a Vikings fan, along with being their broadcaster. I remember one time Favre beat us, and it's happened numerous times, whether it was Aaron Rodgers or Favre or Mahomes, whoever it was at quarterback. But this is a rival, and so this is your hated rival. And so you got to have a little hatred when it's Packers versus Vikings. But it's like Favre drops back to pass, looks for him, touchdown. We'll be back right after this.
Let's not talk any further about it.
It's like, it was like touchdown Green Bay. Like, we'll be back right after this. And I mean, I love the fact that he's like that he's a homer. That's what I want from my local guy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can imagine, anybody listening on the radio that was, at work or whatever, just getting so excited that yes, they did win this one. They got and then you were lied to me. You were wrong. You just misjudged it. That'd be infuriating.
Very similar call. We got to get to break, but Matt Davison catches the best catch ever. Won an ESPY for it. Beat Missouri. It goes to overtime. Warren Swain was in the booth and he couldn't see it, very well. He said incomplete.
Yeah.
and Adrian Fiala, no, that was touchdown. So, that happens to announcers all the time. Let's go to break and come back with the box tops next.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. This is Tom and Bock. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is your high school minute.
With your Southeast Community College High School Minute, I'm Nick Sainers. In high school basketball, Creighton Prep forward Luke Younger's committed to UNO on Sunday. Back on the football field on Friday night, number 1 Bellevue West fell at home to Millard South 42-24. In the first half alone, Millard South scored touchdowns of 16, 60, 65, and 70 yards and only allowed 7 Thunderbird points in the second half. Lincoln Southeast lost on the road at number 6 Creighton Prep 41-7. Prep running back Charmar Brown led all ball carriers with 12 carries and 87 yards while finding the end zone twice. On the other side, Husker football commit Jake Applegate had 8 receptions for 131 yards and a score for Lincoln Southeast. And lastly, in Class B action, Norris hosted Omaha Roncalli on Friday evening. The Titans were able to get on top early and never looked back, topping Roncalli 44-0 and improving to 2-2 on the season. Norris moves on to face Beatrice this Friday night. This has been your High School Minute, sponsored by Southeast Community College with locations in Lincoln, Beatrice, and Milford. Learn more today at southeast.edu.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank, a relationship you can count on.
Expecting sunny skies and a beautiful start to the fall season. We'll top out at 73, a light south wind at around 10. Clear tonight and cool with a low down to 46. More of the same tomorrow. Will be mostly sunny with a high near 80. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, this is Kurt, your shop manager at A1 Automotive here in downtown Lincoln. My promise to you is this: you won't find another automotive repair facility that genuinely cares about you and your vehicle. Our service is outstanding and our customer service is better. Please give me a call for all your automotive repair questions and needs. Call me at 402-477-4660. We are built on small town values, and that shows in how we treat others. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Tailgating wasn't just meant for weekends. Join 93.7 The Ticket every Tuesday at Chick-fil-A for Tailgate Tuesdays. Scan your app with any purchase on Tuesdays and you'll be entered to win a tailgate meal for 15 people. That's chicken nuggets, fresh fruit, and iced tea or lemonade. Winners will be contacted each Wednesday, and you can come see Tom and Bock from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the 48th and O location or at South Point each week. It's Tailgate Tuesdays all season long at Chick-fil-A in Lincoln.
Wakey, wakey, new breakfast at Casey's.
Wakey, wakey, new breakfast at Casey's. Do-do-do-do-do.
Wakey, wakey, breakfast, Casey's.
Casey's new breakfast, featuring delicious handmade sandwiches like this signature handheld made with our fresh made-from-scratch dough. Buy any hot breakfast item and get a coffee for just $1. Casey's, here for good.
We take our college football Saturdays so seriously at 93.7 The Ticket that one postgame show simply isn't enough. Join Husker Hall of Famer Jay Foreman and DP for the Ticket postgame. 90 minutes following each Nebraska game at Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. They'll break down the game from their vantage point and bring in special guests as well, with giveaways to listeners who drop by. It's the Ticket postgame with Jay Foreman and DP at Tanner's Bar and Grill. Sponsored by Action Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning and Vinnie Kreekak of State Farm Insurance.
At Buffalo Wings and Rings, they've crafted a new league of superior chicken sandwiches. Meat, The Ringers. It's premium, house-made, beer-battered fried chicken served buffalo, Korean, or MVP style. Head to Buffalo Wings and Rings Lincoln and raise a glass to superior chicken. 2 locations at 68th and O and at 40th and Old Cheney. Buffalo Wings and Rings.
.93.7 The Ticket Sports News go now.
I'm Enrique Alvarez-Clary. Nebraska football enters the heart of Big Ten play on Saturday when they head up north to the Woodshed to take on Michigan State. The Spartans' running game is led by Kenneth Walker III, who is currently leading the nation in rushing yards at 493 in 3 games, while averaging 8.6 yards per carry. Defensive coordinator Eric Chenander spoke yesterday about the challenges that Walker presents for the Blackshirts.
Obviously, he's a put together really well, explosive kid. He's going to challenge your leverage. And some of these guys, they want to get to the edge and get the ball up the field. He wants to challenge your leverage and make a cut and really go. Hasn't been a lot of single tackles on this guy, so a lot of hats need to get to the football. But obviously, he's leading the NCAA in rushing. I think he's got like 9 yards to carry.
That game in East Lansing kicks off at 6 p.m. on Saturday and can be seen on FS1. Nebraska volleyball opens up conference play today with a trip to Northwestern to take on the 5 and 6 Wildcats. The 12th-ranked Huskers are looking to break a 3-match losing streak when the game begins at 8 p.m. The match can be seen on BTN and heard on the Huskers Radio Network. And for all the latest sports news and updates, keep it tuned right here to 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is Tom and Bock, coming at you live from Coppell Chevrolet GMC Studios in the heart of Lincoln, America, on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Tom Stevens.
We failed, but I thought it was a great effort. I thought that the plan was laid out perfectly.
Jake Bockoven.
I'm not sure I get my point across properly. I'm sure I don't do a good job of explaining what I mean.
Tom and Bock starts now.
Hour number 3 of Tom and Bock. I'm Tom Stevens. He's Jake Bockoven. Yet to come this hour, we're going to rank college football teams. We're going to take 10 of them, and I'm going to ask Bock whether they're over or underrated. That should be a fun little game.
Yeah.
Or maybe you won't be able to make the decision. Maybe you think that ranking is just right. That could happen, I guess, as well. No, I want more of a definitive answer. So even if you think they should be ranked where they're ranked, no, I think most of these teams are either too high or too low in my estimation. I just wonder if you feel the same way.
Well, and I have a blast with this. I know some people do not like preseason lists, top 25s, because it kind of muddies the discussion, and it doesn't really matter until you get to midseason. Those college football playoff rankings, I love them. I mean, they're absolute content, and it's just fun. I mean,
it's
traditionally
fun to get
go
in
with those top 25s.
Yeah.
It's been around for college football forever, and 25 is weird. I mean, it's just kind of like a number everybody went settled on. It's like if you're at 25, you're good. If you're at 26 or later, who knows? Who needs to hear about you?
And there are a few teams on my list that I think are in the 20s or around 20 that could beat some teams in the top 10. So that's why it's interesting to me. Ranking, as you mentioned, it's only week 3, but I am interested to see where it winds up. And this is kind of a prediction type thing.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned. Nebraska versus Oklahoma was the 3rd highest rated game in college football on Saturday. Drew 4.2 million viewers. That was 3rd. Of course, Alabama, Florida, number 1. That drew 7.8 million. So almost double of what Nebraska drew with Oklahoma. But Nebraska was the number 1 TV show at Big Noon. The number one TV. I'm sure the number 1 TV show. Period.
Yeah.
Football always dominates. And let's see. Michigan State was behind Nebraska and Oklahoma. They drew 2.7 million, and Purdue, Notre Dame drew 2.5 million.
And Michigan State was competing with Nebraska. Those other ones don't have one of the top competitors. Notre Dame, I think that started like 130, but
right. Michigan State, Miami, 7. That was 2.7 million.
And I wonder if that's I've seen some arguments about whether Nebraska and Oklahoma just not very big states, so maybe that's part of it, and certainly probably is. But a lot of that is just like it's penciled in as the time slot. Everybody knows, and it's been this way for years.
Yeah.
The 2:30 SEC game draws. The 7 o'clock ABC game draws. That's why Fox went with the big noon, because there was an opening there.
Yeah,
and they've been
You
able
want to
to
go head to head with them.
No, they weren't going to win those.
Yeah.
Those are automatically usually win those big draws. So if Nebraska Oklahoma was the ABC game, I'm sure they'd be a little bit more competitive.
Yeah, it just stood out to me. Nebraska still draws really well. I mean, part of it is you're attached to, in many occasions, you're playing Ohio State, you're playing Oklahoma, but they still have drawn well, even when like the first week versus Illinois, their ratings were fairly decent. Now, one of the reasons is there weren't many good week 0 games. In fact, that was probably the best game of week 0. So that's part of it. But Nebraska does still draw, but you go head to head with the SEC.
What do you think about being, with that week 0? And I know some college football fans maybe hadn't tuned in yet, but 2 out of the 4 weeks, Nebraska's in, the big discussion of the game of the week, basically. For where their team's at over the last several years, where they are now, even at 2-2, that's pretty impressive. It shows the power of that brand still.
Who knows? You win this week, you beat Northwestern.
Yeah.
Game day for Michigan.
I don't know about that much.
Is game day coming for? What if Michigan's undefeated?
Maybe.
And Nebraska's on a 3-0 run.
I'd have to check the other games that week. I'm not sure if Michigan, Nebraska will do it. But if Nebraska can win their next 2, I mean, they're probably a borderline top 25 team. And Michigan, like you said, would be right in there. So.
Bank it. Game day, Michigan. It's going to happen. If they get rolling, it's obviously going to happen with that stretch of games down the stretch. What is it? Ohio State?
Yeah, you got plenty of good home games.
Ohio State, of course, Iowa to end the season, but squeezed in there Wisconsin. So
what if Nebraska wins out until Iowa, and Iowa wins out?
Game day.
Game day.
They'll be on game day by 3 times by then.
That game will still be on BTN. I don't know if they'd do game day there.
Let's do box tops. Okay, what's your category?
Yeah, well, we usually look through the alumni of the school we're facing this week, so that's what we're doing again. The top 10 Michigan State alumni. Pretty good film school, actually, so there's a little bit of that on here.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I learned that actually by watching, what was that movie?
How many actors have come from Michigan State?
Oh, there's several, and I got a few on this list.
You don't have
did
to
you ever
the
see
names.
Coraline?
No.
Coraline's like a kid's movie, but one of the characters, it's like a claymation. One of the characters wears a Michigan State sweater in it. And I was wondering that for years, and I looked it up. It's because the director went to Michigan State.
Okay.
So,
well, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
That's
cool.
interesting. So I'm expecting like 10 actors on this list.
There's a few actors, a few billionaires, and so we'll get through it. It's hard to get a few billionaires.
Yeah.
Nebraska's got one. Maybe do they have more? You think?
Just one.
Just one.
I mean, there's how many billionaires? in the
Billionaires
world?
is a tough bracket.
That's a 1%ers.
Yeah, but there's a few of them on here. Number 10 on my list. I wish you don't have the list in front of you so you could guess who this is. Todd Bodett. I think people on the
No, it's Tom Bodett.
Todd Bodett. Yeah.
Tom Bodett.
And if you hear that name, you know from the commercials that he will leave the light on for you. That's Todd Bodett. He'll leave the light on for you at Motel 6.
And if his name were Bodett, he'd leave the toilet on as well.
Is that what that thing's called?
Bidet. I think it's bidet, not Bodett. But his name is Bodett.
One of my friends got a bidet, and he's fascinated with it. I didn't ask him any more questions.
That's one of the best. I think it's one of the best radio marketing campaigns of all time. We'll leave the light on for you. People know exactly what that is. And if you're looking for a cheap motel, probably under $30, that's
under
Motel
30
6.
bucks.
I don't know.
I don't know about that.
It used to be like 19. I mean, it was really cheap for a while.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they're charging. I'm guessing it's more than $30.
I don't know if it's $30. Number 9 on my list, Jamel Hill, the former ESPN personality, now who works for The Atlantic and has a few podcasts. Remember, she famously spoke, or not famously, but you might remember it. She spoke out against Nebraska for when Riley caught the winning catch out of bounds that came back in. That was like one of Michigan State's best teams. So she was very frustrated by that call.
She's been really outspoken on a lot of different topics. She was on Sports Center on ESPN. I mean, what was this? Smith was the other. Who's the dude?
She's had a.
They were slightly controversial
his and her
about
take or something.
His and hers. I think that's
his and hers, and then they have stats don't lie. I think.
Right.
So she was on a few of those.
Yep,
she was pretty outspoken. So I think ESPN ultimately was tired of hearing from her, so they let
There
her
you
go.
go.
But anyways, she's still kicking and doing pretty well in the industry.
She's young.
Oh, yeah.
She's young.
Number 8 on my list, one of the first billionaires on the list, but the first billionaire on the list. Todd Burnett did not make $1 billion off of his.
No, he didn't make $1 billion, but he's probably a millionaire.
He's probably doing fine.
Yeah.
Eli Broad, though, unfortunately, he just passed away in April. But in June of 2019, Forbes ranked Broad as the 233rd wealthiest person in the world, 78th wealthiest person in the United States, with an estimated net worth of $6.7 billion.
Wow.
He got a lot of his money off of his company KB Home, which was the first home builder listed on the New York Stock Exchange.
It's 233rd at $6 billion. Maybe there are some Nebraskans that would be on that list then. I'm sure that, outside of Buffett.
Yeah. 78th in the United States with 6.7 billion. So I don't know. It might be a lot of those guys probably on the coast, but who knows? Number 7 on my list, Tom Sizemore, an actor and producer. Sizemore has starred in films ranging from Point Break to Saving Private Ryan. Also, for video game fans, he was the voice of the character Sonny Forelli in Grand Theft Auto Vice City. You remember Tom Sizemore? I really only remember him from Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, I've seen him. No, he was in a lot of mob movies.
Yeah.
He was in a lot of mob movies. Let's see, Grand Theft Auto. Let's see, Pearl Harbor. I don't remember him in that. But Natural Born Killer. He was in that. Born on the 4th of July. But yeah, I instantly recognize his face when I look at it, and I'm looking at it.
Yeah,
he's 59.
Yeah, so there's your first actor on the list. How about this? I didn't know how big of a deal he was. These guys were, so you're gonna have to help me out here. I ranked him at 6, but Paul of Peter, Paul, and Mary. If it was Peter, I'd probably put him higher. But Paul of Peter, Paul, and Mary, of course, their famous song "Puff the Magic Dragon."
Right. It's supposedly about weed.
Sounds like it.
I think it's a metaphor about weed.
Yeah.
But they also they had a bunch of hits. Peter, Paul, and Mary were a big deal.
And they weren't like brothers and sisters or anything. They just met up, right?
Yeah, I don't think they were related.
Yeah.
I don't think they're
usually it just seems like, I don't know why, those groups are like somehow related or dating or something.
I mean, you think Peter, Paul, and Mary must be all from the same family. I don't think they are. But they had a lot of big hits. They're kind of a folksy band. And if you're a little kid, I grew up listening to Puff the Magic Dragon.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
a lot of covers on that one.
Yeah, it was a kid's song.
Was it a kid's song?
Well, I knew it as a kid's song. Maybe it's not known that way now. Folksy kid song.
Yeah.
I had that 45 as a kid, so I just thought of it as a kid song.
Did you think of weed back when you listened to it as a kid?
No, I thought it was a magic dragon that lived by the sea. Apparently, it's something different than that.
I don't know why you would puff on this dragon.
No, yeah.
Or that's his name. That's the
his
dragon's
name is Puff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you figure it out.
Yeah, I think
Bob.
there's some innuendo there.
There's some innuendo.
Number 5 on my list. It's a bit. I've left most of the athletes on this list, so I only included one, and it's not Magic Johnson. So there might have been better athletes here, but one of my favorites of all time is Morten Andersen, the Great Dane, the kicker. To go along with our week of frustrations for you as wanting the kickers to be out of football, but he's an all-time great. Following a career from 1982 to 2007, he kicked forever. He holds the NFL record for regular season games played at 382. Also ranks second in field goals and points scored. Also holds the Big Ten record for the longest field goal at 63 yards. I think that's still the record. And of course, to pile on top of your frustrations of kickers, he kicked a game-winning field goal in overtime.
I remember it
in the
vividly.
1998 NFC Championship game to beat the Vikings and send the Dirty Birds, the Falcons, to their first ever Super Bowl.
Falcons had Morten Andersen. The Vikings had Gary Anderson, who hadn't missed all year.
Unrelated, by the way.
Gary, no, they're not related, but Gary was actually having a better year than Morten that year. But he missed his first field goal of the year.
Yeah, that's right.
And it cost the Vikings a Super Bowl appearance. They would have won it. I mean, they would have won it all that year.
That's the Broncos, right? They would have faced.
Yeah, they would have killed the Broncos. No, that wasn't the Broncos that year.
Was it?
78 was the Broncos. I'm trying to think who
78. You were going way too far back.
No, but that's
98.
The Vikings, though. I mean, the Vikings would have played the Broncos.
Oh, I see what you're
I'm going
saying.
back. I'm going down memory lane. But
I thought 98
was it? It might have been the Broncos.
Falcons.
It might have been Broncos Falcons.
Yeah.
You're right. That was. You're right. You're right. That was John Elway.
And that was like the one year the Falcons just had Jamal. I think it's Jamal Was it Jamal Williams?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did the Dirty Bird in the end zone. That was awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Vikings team was really good.
Yep.
Number 4 on my list, another billionaire, Tom Gores. Maybe it's Gores he's the Detroit Pistons owner. He's the founder of Platinum Equity, a private equity firm. That's how he made his money. He's a billionaire as well, with an estimated net worth of $4.1 billion, according to the 2019 Forbes 400 list. He attended at Michigan State, where he worked as a janitor and a telemarketer to make ends meet.
I mean, what would you do with $4.1 billion?
I don't know. There's a lot that you can do there.
It'd be fun.
I like what he's done, other than the fact that the Pistons are awful.
Philanthropist, yeah.
But, well, not the philanthropist, owning the Pistons.
Yeah, well, that's a philanthropy, I think.
Okay.
They're terrible.
Yeah, that is a good way of putting it. He is, they're terrible. That's not who I would buy, and I don't know if he's part of that as being a bad owner, but remember, they just couldn't have a Blake Griffin dunk at all.
Yeah,
because he was getting double teamed.
And then
the
Pistons
are awful.
Then he went to the Nets, and all he was doing was dunking.
Yeah, a little bit more space on the floor.
Yeah.
Another billionaire here, number 3, Dan Gilbert actually went to Michigan State. Of course, he's the founder of Quicken Loans and the owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers. So they have 2 NBA owners.
That's impressive. I mean, that's really impressive. They're loaded. I mean, that school is.
Yeah,
but
they can make some
wonder,
calls.
I wonder what their trust fund is at Michigan State. I bet it's obviously they're all in the billions, but I bet it's a load.
Yeah, if they end up needing to pay Mel Tucker a little bit more money, maybe they could. Maybe they could do it and take away Hondo's fears there. Number 2 on my list, one of my brother's favorite people, Sam Raimi, a Hollywood director, writer, and producer, most known for the Evil Dead trilogy. That's why my brother loved him. He left after 3 semesters at Michigan State to make the film. Did you ever watch The Evil Dead?
No, I did not.
It was kind of they made it as it was a low budget film, made as like a gore type of film, but it was.
You've seen it?
Yeah, but it was kind of funny. So they picked, so we kind of got a cult following because it was funny, just kind of the way that they shot it. So in the second one, they incorporated that and tried to, and said, okay, the joke is that this movie's horror, but it's also funny, so let's incorporate that.
I get it.
And so they've run with the series that way.
Genre.
Yeah.
I do remember Hercules and Xena, Princess Warrior.
Yeah, he also, he's a writer or producer for those great 90s shows.
Yeah.
He also did the Spider-Man trilogy, the earlier one. In fact, was that he didn't often act in his movies, but he was a popcorn-throwing wrestling fan in Spider-Man. Of course, when they had the wrestling scene, one of my favorites in the Spider-Man trilogy is what is that? Macho Man?
Yeah,
Randy Savage said, "Hey,
Macho
you're going
Man.
nowhere."
That's a good impression, Bock.
Yeah,
I liked it.
And he was throwing popcorn at him. He also did Oz the Great and Powerful, which I forgot that was a movie. Is there for a remake of such a historic movie? That one just kind of gets.
I have no memory. That must have gone right to video.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine. I don't remember it. I don't remember.
It wasn't really all that great. Next project though is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So that'll be coming out next year. That'll be something to watch out for. And how about number 1 on my list, James Caan, who actually played for the Michigan State football team, of course, is an actor best known for The Godfather, where he was Sonny Corleone, or Brian Song, where he's Brian Piccolo.
Yeah.
He also, mentioning The Godfather, his actual one of his sons' godfather is Colombo crime boss Andrew Russo. So he didn't just play in crime movies; he got along with some of the mob bosses. Among Caan's 4 divorces include former girlfriend of Elvis Presley and one-time Playboy cover girl Sheila Ryan. So that's maybe the most important of his, or most interesting of his divorces.
Misery was a great movie too, and it gave me
like that
nightmares. I love Misery. James Caan was a great actor, and just kind of left in his heyday. I mean, he was still very successful, and he's just like, I'm done. I'm done with acting.
But most importantly, he came back to play Walter, Will Ferrell's long lost father in Elf, which is a great Christmas movie. I watch every year.
Yeah, I love Elf.
Yeah.
I love Elf. James Caan doesn't really do anything in it.
He does. He's the father. He's the angry, bitter father.
He's the father, but he didn't really act. It felt like at that point he'd just kind of given up. Plus, I think when you're in a movie with Will Ferrell, you just let Will take over the movie, and he kind of did.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's taken over a movie more than Elf, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was pretty
That's
good.
definitely all Will Ferrell.
That was all Will Ferrell. Let's go to break. Who do we have? Oh, yeah, we're going to do our college football, basically over-unders. I mean, or basically, help me define this. Under the radar or more overrated? I think that's where we're going with that. Overrated or under the radar. We'll do that next.
You're listening to Tom and Bock. Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch.
Listening to this Allstate commercial about savings might be the hardest thing about getting those savings. Save for simply becoming an Allstate customer. Save more for adding DriveWise. And save even more for driving safely. Visit allstate.com or contact your local agent for a quote today. Allstate. Minimum effort, maximum reward.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. DriveWise is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
At Mountain Dew, we support the best and baddest disaster relief group in America, Team Rubicon. To show our support of Team Rubicon, Mountain Dew put in $1 million. And now you can help Team Rubicon too. Look for specially marked Team Rubicon bottles of Mountain Dew, Diet Mountain Dew, and Mountain Dew Zero Sugar. Enter for a chance to win weekly prizes at MountainDewTR.com and donate to Team Rubicon. You'll earn exclusive rewards when you do. No purchase necessary. U.S. residents 18 and older. Subject to rules at MountainDewTR.com. Ends 10/3/2020.
Deck City is Lincoln's DIY deck headquarters. With real deck professionals, they can help you throughout the entire process. They also offer financing for qualified customers. Deck City offers the best quality materials so you have a deck built to last. There's everything from yellowwood lumber to the best quality TimberTech composites on the market and high quality aluminum railings by Westbury or Diamond Piers for easy footing install. For those looking to bring your wood deck back to life, they offer good proof ready seal stain. Deck City, your deck material headquarters, is now open Saturdays from 9 to 1, 2 blocks north of 33rd and Cornhusker Highway.
You decide to buy new flooring, you want it installed right away. Hi, Steve Carper from O Street Carpet. With our huge in-stock supply of carpet, tile, and vinyl, wood, and laminate flooring. You buy today and we'll install it right away. While other stores don't deliver that kind of service, we do. In fact, if you'd have purchased your flooring last week at O Street, you'd be enjoying it today.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street and ostreetcarpet.com.
McKinney's Irish Pub in the Haymarket is your place for English Premier League soccer. This Saturday, Chelsea and Man City square off at 6:30 a.m., as well as Man U and Aston Villa. At 9 a.m., Leicester City plays Burnley and Everton faces Norwich City. Arsenal takes on Tottenham at 10:30 and Liverpool hosts Brentford at 11:30 a.m. All at McKinney's Irish Pub, your headquarters for English Premier League soccer in Lincoln at 8th and P.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Expecting sunny skies and a beautiful start to the fall season. We'll top out at 73, a light south wind at around 10. Clear tonight and cool with a low down to 46. More of the same tomorrow. Will be mostly sunny with a high near 80. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you dragging through each day? Most people are dehydrated or deficient in essential vitamins, minerals, and more. Live Hydration Spa helps you get more out of your life with their IV hydration treatments to help with anti-aging, weight loss, endurance, and more. Their performance packages can help you feel better doing your normal daily routine with boosts of energy and vitality, an increase in immunity, and quicker athletic recovery. Call today for an appointment at 402-413-2042 or walk in at 71st and Pioneers. Live Hydration Spa. There's not many things worse than having plumbing issues at your home or business, but it's even worse if the problem isn't fixed correctly. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time, and they specialize in several things: general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, sewer and water underground repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. That's Select Plumbing at 402-560-6197.
Want a free pair of Nebraska football tickets? Head to theticketfm.com's contest tab and register for a free pair of tickets each week of a home game, courtesy of Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of Woods Brothers and 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to Tom and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
I'm so glad the show isn't on during, the Masters happens Thursday and Friday, and it's so hard for me to focus right during our show because you're getting some of the prime names in many cases playing golf. But the Ryder Cup, I won't have to worry about that till Friday. Really excited about the Ryder Cup. In Whistling Straits, Wisconsin, the Americans have been crushed by the Europeans 7 out of the last 10 times. And it only happens, once every 2 years, I think, the Ryder Cup, I want to say.
Do they play just in America?
No.
They
switch it every year.
Yeah.
And here's the deal. The Americans have all the best golfers. But the Europeans just have the best team. And it's weird, that in such an individual sport where all you have to do is beat that guy next to you on the score, the U.S. can't do it in a team atmosphere. They've just been dominated by the Europeans. And it's been really frustrating to them because, they have the best players in the Bryson DeChambeau is playing, Brooks Koepka, I should say. That feud is one of the storylines of this whole thing that you can't pair them together because they'll just beat each other up. Bob Barker type incident on the golf course, but they won't pair them.
Do they have the best Americans playing? Or is it kind of like the U.S. basketball team where half the guys say, no, I'm not playing?
I think there's much more patriotism attached to this than there is at least now in other sports. I don't know why necessarily. But all the best players are playing on the U.S. side. And so they should win.
I'm not a huge golf fan, obviously not very knowledgeable, but there's something about that I'll always be interested in is, just like grouping the Americans together against the Europeans. There's just kind of perks your interest a little bit.
Well, and here's the deal. Unlike the other sports, like Olympic basketball, they don't see each other all the time. Or maybe they do now because they all play in the NBA.
Yeah.
I think that's changing Olympic sports because especially basketball, where you have a professional league, these guys all know each other from every country. In golf, it's that way too, because you're playing on the regular PGA Tour. Even the best players from Europe are playing at least part of their time on the PGA Tour. And both the guys, from the PGA Tour will go over to the European Tour and play there as well. But I think that's what international sports in general is changing. You have friendships now.
Well, the world
have the animosity.
Yeah, the world's just a lot smaller than it used to be. I mean, everybody, if you have a little bit of money and if you're an athlete, usually do. I mean, a plane ride's not all that expensive for you to go anywhere you want on any given week. So that, and along with all the technology, allows you to just see somebody face to face as much as you want. So it's a little bit different. I think it takes away a little bit from playing somebody on the other side of the world. That kind of rivalry. I mean, that's kind of cool back in the day when it wasn't so connected, but I'll certainly take the modern world how it is. I kind of like it that way.
As the text line points out, John Rahm is the number one current player in the world, and he's playing for the Europeans, but certainly the U.S. is loaded with talent, and it has I think even the Europeans have said the Americans have the better team. I want to do college football teams. That's your love, man. You love the fall. This is your favorite time of year.
My favorite month because college football starts.
But I'm not going to take the obvious teams because we know how good Alabama is. I think we kind of know about Georgia.
Were you really quick with Alabama?
Well, I know they didn't blow them out, and we both predicted that they would blow Florida out, and they only won by 2. That still seems like a really good Alabama team.
But it's interesting because it's not just it's not the Alabama team of a few years ago. It doesn't, you don't have a returning starting quarterback or running back or wide receiver that led your team that was the Heisman.
That's true.
I mean, everybody preseason just said it was one of the storylines is, well, we just believe Alabama's going to be great. Maybe it'll take some time for this Alabama to get great. They're still obviously very good by beating Florida, but I think college football is just wide open this year and I love it.
Yeah, it does feel like even the Alabamas of the world might be a little more vulnerable this year. We've certainly seen Clemson take a step back. Georgia's good, but do you really ever trust their offense? We already got a peek at Oklahoma. So I think we're suspicious this year of everybody. Is there a great team in college football? But more, I want to head down this road with this segment. Do you think they're overrated or are they underrated? And at number 10, I have Michigan. They're 3-0, great defense. They average 350 yards rushing a game. They've got several good running backs. They feel like they found their guy at quarterback with Cade McNamara. But are you saying they're underrated or are they overrated at 19?
I think that they're a little bit underrated, and it's hard to say that because they're obviously coming off. I think they're 3 They didn't play too many games last year, but they had a losing record. I think they were 3-4. But for the majority of Jim Harbaugh's career, there, they've been kind of in that 15-20, 12-15 ranked team finally. I think they're going to get there. They're two of the last 3 games are at Penn State and against Ohio State. So that's going to be a tough way to end, but and they got to get over their ghosts against Michigan State. They haven't been able to beat them either. Wisconsin, Nebraska, other tough opponents down the line, and they haven't really beaten anybody too spectacular so far. Washington's their best victory, and they don't look very good. So maybe it's a bit of smoke and mirrors so far for Michigan. I just like their identity. So if I get a team that runs like that, I'm going to love it, and I think that they're going to be I think they're going to finish this year in the top 15, so I think they're a little underrated.
I think they're a little underrated as well. It looks like they could be a juggernaut on defense, and they can certainly run the football. And we'll see about the quarterback situation, but they're at 19, probably could be a little bit higher. The next team on our list, the next one that I was considering is Notre Dame. Notre Dame is off to a 3-0 start. They have a couple of close wins. The first one looked good against Florida State. They win barely over Toledo. They win by a couple of touchdowns over Purdue this past weekend. But they didn't look dominant against Purdue. In fact, Purdue outgained them. We'll know a lot more this week because they play Wisconsin. Do you think Notre Dame is overrated or underrated?
I think they're about where they're actually are probably going to end up this year. They got these big tests, of course, at Soldier Field against Wisconsin, you mentioned. Then the next week against Cincinnati. And then the week after that at Virginia Tech, who was just ranked 15th. They lost this past week, but still a tough run because then it continues with USC and North Carolina. I mean, they've got a bit of a difficult schedule. I don't think they're overwhelmingly good, but I think they're the kind of Notre Dame team that's going to sneak away with these wins. I know that's what they've done so far. But I think Jack Cohn's looked good so far. I think that they're about where they should be or will end up by this season's end.
I think we'll know a lot more on Saturday when they play Wisconsin.
We don't want to give away our picks of density, but who are you leaning toward there so far? At Wednesday, at this point in the week,
there's no home field advantage. They're at Soldier Field, I should say. So I don't know what that means, but as far as an advantage is concerned, I think it's a toss-up game. I think it's just a toss-up, complete toss-up game. I'm not sold really on either team.
I really want to see Jack Cohn. I usually go for the Big Ten, but I want to see Jack Cohn bury it in Wisconsin's face that they chose Graham Mertz over him because he's looked better so far.
He has. Mertz has not looked great. And Jack Cohn has had to run for his life. It's not because the offensive line has been good at Notre Dame. It's been really bad, but he's played well. Reminds me a little bit of Adrian Martinez. The next team on my list at number 8, overrated or underrated, Florida. Obviously, they're coming off an impressive loss, similar to Nebraska, to Alabama. They didn't get the 2-point conversion, but they played really pretty well.
Yeah, I think Florida's underrated at 11. I mean, that's the best loss in the nation. And, playing Alabama that close. Remember, it's a 2-point conversion that they missed. So they were that close to getting it done. And, I was just thinking the other day, because you mentioned the stat, that Dan Mullen has not beat Nick Saban yet. And Florida, who can hire whoever they want, hired a coach within the SEC that has shown that he can't beat Saban.
Right.
So that's how dominant Saban is that, the other top jobs in the nation are just like, well, he won't beat Saban, but he'll still be pretty good. That's crazy that's where we are. But I mean, I won't say he can't beat Saban because he was that close and he's just getting things rolling there at Florida. I think that's a team that's getting better, and I think it'll finish higher than 11th this year.
Well, it looks like they could get him in a rematch too, right?
Yeah.
They're in a different
division.
They could
definitely beat Georgia.
Yeah, I think so. Number 7 on my list, I've got Ohio State, the next highest rated team on my list. They're at 10. They've allowed a lot of points, or a lot of yards, I should say, defensively, and quite a few points. They allowed 20 points in their win over Tulsa, 41-20. But they're 2-1, and their defense looks really leaky.
Yeah, and they're switching defensive play callers. I mean, it looks bad for Ryan Day there right now. I mean, as bad as it can for Ohio State. I mean, a bad year for Ohio State's 10-2. So, their schedule's not too difficult till the end. I mean, they have Akron, Rutgers, Maryland, and Indiana in their next 4 games, so they should be able to get it right. And because of that, I think that they're probably going to be finished ranked a little higher than this by the end of the season. They certainly aren't, similar to what I was saying about Alabama. They're not the best Ohio State team we've seen for years, but I think as far as the competition this year, I think they're gonna be able to get it right over the next 4 games and be ready for that Penn State game day before Halloween.
I agree. I think they're underrated. I think Stroud will get better. I think the defense will get better. They're still explosive, and they might have the best running back in this entire league. I mean, we talk a lot about Walker, and we should, but TreVeyon Henderson is way more talented than everybody. He's got speed. He's got power. That guy's really good. So I think Ohio State is underrated, but I could be proven wrong on that one. Number 6 on my list is Clemson. Currently number 9 in the country. Where's the offense? They had 284 total offensive yards against Georgia Tech last week. They have not looked good in that loss to Georgia. We thought it was two great defenses. DJ Uiagalelei is not good at all right now. Uiagalelei. I don't think he's been a good replacement for Trevor Lawrence.
No, he hasn't thus far. And I mean that close game. I know there was like that game against Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech just has not been able to translate from that triple option offense and the move they've made a few years ago. They've been awful in the ACC, and Georgia Tech only beat them, or Clemson only beat them by 6. Again, there was a stoppage of play because of a storm, I think, at that time, but still, I mean, that shows you how far Clemson's fallen at this point. Fortunately for them, they don't play one ranked team on the schedule outside of Georgia. So the rest of the season, they don't have one ranked team in front of them. And in fact, I don't even know where I'd say the most difficult game is. I mean, I'll lay these teams out and you tell me. North Carolina State, Boston College, Syracuse, Pitt, Florida State, Louisville, Connecticut, who's just not even a football team, Wake Forest, and South Carolina.
None of them are good. Maybe you could say NC State's as good as any of those teams, and that's who they played this weekend. I'm not sure if they seem about right to me, though, at 9. They don't seem like the Clemson of old, but they don't seem like they're out of the top 10.
I don't know. With that schedule, that's really going to hurt them when it comes to the college football playoffs. Right. So they're going to have to win the ACC championship probably that game, and that'll be probably versus a ranked team. But
they're going to get the benefit of the doubt. They always do.
They might, but if you keep beating Georgia Tech by 6, I mean, if you keep playing these teams like
they got to get better. Yeah,
I don't think they're as good as the number 9 team in the nation. I think they're overrated. But their schedule is just so easy. They'll probably finish in the top 15 still.
Cincinnati 3-0 coming off that 38-24 win over Indiana. I can't decide how good they are, though. Are they overrated or underrated at number 8 in the country?
Well, and again, their next game is against Notre Dame. Notre Dame will come after a week. It seems like if you look at the Notre Dame schedule, it's kind of fun because every team that plays, most of the teams that play Notre Dame have a bye week before Notre Dame, and Cincinnati's one of them. I think that they'll be able to beat Notre Dame. I think Cincinnati is going to go undefeated this year, so I think they're borderline top 5 team.
That's right. It's 2 weeks that they play Wisconsin, right?
They play Wisconsin Notre Dame plays Wisconsin this week.
Okay, and then Cincinnati plays.
Tough
Okay,
couple games.
I thought I was reading the schedule right on that. Number 4, quickly, Texas A&M. They're 7th ranked in the country. Are they overrated or underrated?
Boy, that one's hard because Colorado just got shellacked and embarrassed against Minnesota 30-0, and Texas A&M barely beat Colorado 10-7. They have Arkansas this week, so that'll be an interesting game. I think that it's tough. I mean, I trust in Jimbo Fisher. The more time he has at that program to get it better. But are they going to finish 7th in the nation? They've got kind of a tough schedule coming up eventually, obviously, when you play in the SEC West. I'd say they're probably a little bit overrated.
I think they're overrated, but we'll know more this weekend when they play Arkansas, as you just said. The number 6 team in the country, Penn State, coming off a big win over Auburn. They have wins over Wisconsin and Auburn now. They've got Villanova this weekend, so we won't learn anything about them. But right now, overrated, underrated at 6th in the country.
Well, I think they look pretty impressive. And again, I don't know if normally I'd say this is the number 6 team in the nation, but because this year there's going to be so much parity, I think that they can be right there. And they might be, I think it was on Happer and Schaefer, they're talking about that might be the best opportunity for the Big Ten now to have a playoff team. I think that they're where they should be. I like number 6 for Penn State.
Okay, the number 4 team in the number 5 team. I wasn't going to put Oklahoma on, but I decided late that I'm going to put them on. Number 5 team, though, is Iowa. They have 2 really impressive wins so far this season, but their offense isn't very good. Are they overrated or underrated?
I think they're overrated. It's hard for me to say that. I don't think they're overrated based on what they've done so far. Them, along with Penn State, have probably the best resume with their 2 wins so far over Indiana and Iowa State for Iowa, and they've looked really good. I just don't know if you're going to get through that schedule. You got Penn State, you got Wisconsin, Nebraska, of course, Minnesota. I don't think they're going to finish this season in the top 5, but I think that's another top 15 top of Iowa team that could win the West this year.
I think they are I think they are, which is just Iowa. They look like Iowa. They shouldn't be ranked 5th in the country, though. I think they're a little overrated. If the offense improves, and it better improve dramatically, because at times it's looked anemic. They're 13th in the Big Ten in total offense. They're 13th in third down conversions. They don't really do anything well offensively, but if they get to be mediocre, even, that might be a team that could win the Big Ten. Finally, the highest rated team on my list, Oklahoma. You saw them against Nebraska. Some people are wondering, that doesn't look like Baker Mayfield or Jalen Hurts. That doesn't look like Kyler Murray, talking about the quarterback. And they questioned some things about Oklahoma. Do you? Are they overrated or underrated?
I think that they're not as good as some of those Oklahoma teams that we've seen in the past. The Big 12's really not that good. Kansas State's in the top 25. They lost their quarterback. They'll have Iowa State still. I don't think this is the Oklahoma team that goes undefeated, but I think they're going to be able to slide by and get most of the wins in the Big 12. So I think that they're right where they should be. I think they're a team to look out for in the college football playoff. Obviously, Nebraska fans probably feel they're a little bit overrated after watching that game, but they're early in the season. I think they'll get better as it goes on.
They play West Virginia this weekend, who beat Virginia Tech. So they're going to get a test this weekend. I think they got a test anyway. I think they're right about where I thought. I thought they'd be better offensively and worse defensively. So it's kind of a wash a little bit. I think that Oklahoma might have a better defense. I wonder how much of it is just the result of playing Nebraska. I don't know. But we'll figure it out. They're probably the one that I'm most leaning. I don't know. I just don't know. Let's go to break. 464-5685. It is Wednesday, so it's What's the Hook Wednesday. Bock will sing a song. Maybe he'll just act it out. Maybe he'll just read the lyrics, whatever he wants to do. And you get the song. Guess the name of the song, you get $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. We'll do that next.
You're listening to Tom and Bock. Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now. In our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Last year, the average starting pay for an SCC truck driver training program graduate was $44,720. Southeast Community College can now make that a reality in only 8 weeks with its professional truck driver training class starting in October. SCC's fleet of 12 trucks and professional instructors will prepare you for a new career. You'll end the course with your Class A CDL. Learn more about SCC's professional truck driver training class at southeast.edu/truckdriver. SCC, your path to possible.
Now that Ken Richards has purchased Broker's Agency, he and his professional staff will continue to provide their clients with the same excellent service under the Broker's Insurance Agency name. Broker's Insurance Agency works with more than 15 companies to help find the best policy for you to avoid any long hassles. Also, if you're looking to get into the insurance business as an independent agent, they have the formula to make that process smooth and successful. Call Ken with Broker's Insurance Agency today at 402-420-5353 or visit brokersinsuranceNE.com.
Listening to this Allstate commercial about savings might be the hardest thing about getting those savings. Save for simply becoming an Allstate customer. Save more for adding DriveWise. And save even more for driving safely. Visit Allstate.com or contact your local agent for a quote today. Allstate. Minimum effort, maximum reward.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. Drive-bys is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
At Mountain Dew, we support the best and baddest disaster relief group in America, Team Rubicon. To show our support of Team Rubicon, Mountain Dew put in $1 million. And now you can help Team Rubicon too. Look for specially marked Team Rubicon bottles of Mountain Dew, Diet Mountain Dew, and Mountain Dew Zero Sugar. Enter for a chance to win weekly prizes at MountainDewTR.com and donate to Team Rubicon. You'll earn exclusive rewards when you do. No purchase necessary. U.S. residents 18 and older. Subject to rules at MountainDewTR.com. Ends 10/3/2020.
In the Army National Guard, family means everything.
They really appreciate what she's done as a sister as well as a soldier and, supporting their country.
Our parents, they were really supportive that all 5 of us would join.
Family members that are soldiers in the Army National Guard inspire and influence, setting a path for others.
It's validating knowing that, I kind of did my part to make sure this is what they actually wanted and that they feel the same way I do. I'm really proud that we get to help shape the future, and I know that my sisters are going to be amazing soldiers.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard instills pride that you and your family will share in.
A lot of pride, and they're just out there doing something every day and then serving their country as well.
I got my education because of the Guard. I got to travel a little bit and experience a whole different culture.
Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service. Sponsored by the Nebraska Army National Guard. Aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association at this station.
One host has a red beard and thinning hair. The other also has a red beard and thinning hair. One host got married over the summer. So did the other one. One is a diehard fan of a sub-500 AL Central baseball team. So is the other. Can these two radio hosts do a show together without getting confused as to their own identity? The same couple. Happer and Schaefer. Weekday mornings from 8 to 11 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric has been serving Lincoln and Southeast Nebraska for over 50 years. They've been a trusted name to deliver honest, quality services you can count on. It's always important to know someone you can trust, whether it's for your home or your business. Action is well established and offers convenience and reliability, always committed to a job done right. Give them a call or visit their website at actionlincoln.com. Action, your proud sponsor of the Ticket Postgame Show.
State Farm, this is Bill.
It finally got me, Bill.
What's that, Rick?
The Clark Street crater, the mother of all potholes.
Oh.
Year after rim-wrecking year, it's tormented the people of this town. It got me good.
But State Farm's got you too.
You hear that? You ain't nothing.
You trash talking a pothole?
Yes, I am.
Go with the one that's here to help life go right. State Farm.
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Kreekak, at 402-474-1173.
This is Wingman.
Son, your ego is writing checks your body can't cash.
I don't like you because you're dangerous.
That's right. You can be my wingman anytime.
Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings on 93.7 The Ticket.
464-5685. Call right now on the Honda of Lincoln hotline to win $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings so you can go buy chickens.
Oh, yo.
Yard birds. All right, today it's Wednesday, so it's What's the Hook Wednesday. Bock reads the lyrics to one of his favorite songs right up until the hook, and then you guess it, and you get chickens. It's that simple.
Yeah, it's that simple. And I've been practicing this for a couple of days now.
Have you really?
Yeah, it's a bit of a long verse.
It
so
looks
it's gonna
like
be
a
fun.
lot of lyrics.
Well,
over
this
there.
isn't. I'm reading off the computer.
Oh, okay. I was going. That looks
It
like a
still
novel
is.
over there.
Question.
It still is.
I broke my mic here. Can you turn it off so people don't?
Oh yeah, there he goes.
Yeah, he's got to.
He's also holding a bottle of wine on the stream, and he's under 21.
Yeah.
So
well, it was
maybe
Wine
we should
Wednesday
take that
on the
wine
morning
away
show.
from him.
That's right. We came in and everybody was drunk today. So it seemed it is Nebraska Wine Wednesday, and it was on Happer and Schaefer. So that's why we did it there.
You just want to hold the mic?
Why don't you just hold it for a while, and at least until we get through this segment, and then you can come back on.
Are you good?
Let Bock read the damn lyrics.
All right. I got to lower my voice here. All right, here we go. Finally, someone let me out of my cage. Now, time is me. Okay, I already screwed it up. Now, time is for me nothing because I'm counting no age. Now, I couldn't be there. Now, you shouldn't be scared. I'm good at repairs, and I'm under each snare. Intangible. Bet you didn't think so. I command you to. Panoramic view. Look, I'll make it all manageable. Pick and choose. Sit and lose. All you different crews. Chicks and dudes. Who you think is really kicking tunes? Picture you getting down, and I'll picture two. Like you lit the fuse. You think it's fictional? Mystical? Maybe. Spiritual. A hero who appears on you to clear your view when you're too crazy. Lifeless. lifeless to you. The definition for what life is. Priceless. This is hard. Priceless to you because I put you on the hype.
You were pretty
shift.
solid, Bock.
It's a shift.
You were pretty solid.
Do you like it? Gun smoking righteous, but one talking psychic among those possess you with one thought. There we go.
Do you own this particular record? Is it something in the vault?
My brother actually owned this one.
Nice.
One of his first CDs
so
in the year where Nick was born, actually.
All right, 464-5685. Bock doing a little hip hop today.
Yes.
Hip hop or rap? What would you describe that as?
Yeah, let's say hip hop, sure.
Yeah,
hip-hop.
may not R&B necessarily, but
No. Houston. Hi, Houston. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I hope you know because I can't help you, and I'm the only wingman today available. Or unless,
tell you what,
you think you know Nick?
Do you know it, Houston?
Yeah, I only know 2 Gorillaz songs, and that's not Feel Good Inc. That's got to be Clint Eastwood.
Is it Clint Eastwood? It is
Nice
Clint
job,
Eastwood.
Houston.
Oh wow. Yeah, it is apparently Clint Eastwood. Sounds like this.
It's a pretty good one.
So fun
Nick
fact,
knows this one.
the only reason I know this song is because it was on NBA 2K.
Oh, really?
Oh, nice.
Some year, or I don't know. I don't remember the year necessarily, but I remember
Is
that.
that how you know it, Bock, or do you...
No, this was back in the day. Again, that's my brother's first CD. He's a big fan, so I listened to the whole CD a lot. I screwed up this time. I mean, it's really hard to do, though.
It's not easy. I thought you pulled it off.
Yeah, it was just fine.
Fabulous.
And it was, by the way, the member of the Gorillaz is not. This is Del the Funky Homo Sapien.
Let me out of my cage.
Oh, yeah.
Time for me is nothing.
This is what I was trying to do.
No, I couldn't be there.
Like, you rocked it.
Yes, I agree.
I did.
Nice
I
job,
messed up a few
for
times.
hip hop or rap.
It went better than my when I was practicing by myself.
That's right. Hey, it was better than my karaoke in the afternoon, so it's fine.
No, you did DMX pretty good.
I did. I attempted T-Pain the other day. Rico as backup, backup vocals for me. It was not. I mean, it was good. Rico made it good.
Yeah, Rico can pull anything.
Rico
up.
can do it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the only reason
He's
that
a
it sounded
machine.
like T-Pain.
He's
He's
got
kind of
some.
like T-Pain. T-Pain could. T-Pain just used the computer to make his voice. That's pretty good.
So funny story about T-Pain. I was going through Spotify real quick. He did some Mexican version of a song. Not good.
Not good.
Yeah, his career kind of ended pretty quickly. I wonder.
It was not good.
He
It was like a
started doing different
mariachi feel, and then T-Pain's auto-tuned voice comes out of it. Not good. Not
Can't say I know a lot or own any of T-Pain stuff.
Yeah,
I've got to.
that's understandable. That's all right.
I'll be doing a search during the break there of T-Pain.
You'll love it.
Buy you a drink. You know that one? Buy you a
Oh
drink?
yeah, I know.
Shawty snapping.
Okay, I guess I do know some of the songs.
There you go.
I know Buy a Drink.
Yeah.
All right, good.
So happy hour's coming up.
Yes, it is.
Excited?
I am excited. We're going
All
to be joined by a couple people today. Jeff from Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping will be stopping by, talk about his 10-week challenge coming up. I'm going to be a part of it. And then we'll also have Aaron Sorensen of Hail Varsity previewing Huskers and Michigan State.
You sticking in town to watch the game this week? Or are you going to Michigan
10
State?
hours is way too long for a
that's
weekend
big
drive.
How long did it take to get to
6.5. It was 6.5 to our hotel, and that was a little too long just for I said this yesterday. We left way too late, and like on Friday, and we got in way too late, and it was too quick of a turnaround to do 6.5. I mean, it was worth it, but it was fine.
There you go. We'll look forward to happy hour then.
Thank you, guys.
Don't touch that wine.
That's right. It's already half gone.
No.
To be honest, I didn't touch it as far as you know. I want to ask this question. Is Michigan State the most important game of the Frost era? Because we kind of pointed to it even before the season started. We were saying that's a huge circle game. I mean, that's a game you better win. But we didn't think Michigan State would be this good. I didn't think they would. But we'll talk about that. We'd love to hear your reaction. 464-5685. More of it on the way.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. This is Tom and Bock.
You decide to buy new flooring, you want it installed right away. Hi, Steve Carper from O Street Carpet. With our huge in-stock supply of carpet, tile, and vinyl, wood, and laminate flooring. You buy it today and we'll install it right away. While other stores don't deliver that kind of service, we do. In fact, if you'd have purchased your flooring last week at O Street, you'd be enjoying it today.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. and OStreetCarpet.com.
There's not many things worse than having plumbing issues at your home or business, but it's even worse if the problem isn't fixed correctly. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time, and they specialize in several things: general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, sewer and water underground repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. That's Select Plumbing at 402-560-6197.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 330 North 48th Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
McKinney's Irish Pub in the Haymarket is your place for English Premier League soccer. This Saturday, Chelsea and Man City square off at 6:30 a.m., as well as Man U and Aston Villa. At 9 a.m., Leicester City plays Burnley and Everton faces Norwich City. Arsenal takes on Tottenham at 10:30 and Liverpool hosts Brentford at 11:30 a.m., all at McKinney's Irish Pub, your headquarters for English Premier League soccer in Lincoln at 8th and P. Are you dragging through each day? Most people are dehydrated or deficient in essential vitamins, minerals, and more. Live Hydration Spa helps you get more out of your life with their IV hydration treatments to help with anti-aging, weight loss, endurance, and more. Their performance packages can help you feel better doing your normal daily routine with boosts of energy and vitality, an increase in immunity, and quicker athletic recovery. Call today for an appointment at 402-413-2042 or walk in at 71st and Pioneers. Live Hydration Spa.
Wally's Used Cars in Lincoln, known by many as Weird Country, reminds us this September we observe the 20th anniversary of 9/11. Let's remember the people who are there for our safety on a full or part-time basis. Wally's Used Cars thanks all career and volunteer first responders for your courage in times of crisis. This message from Wally's Used Cars at the corner of 24th and P Street here in Lincoln. Awesome deals on pre-owned vehicles, great buys, and they also buy vehicles running or not. Call 402-474-4809. Wally's Used Cars thanks our military and first responders in the month of September.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Expecting sunny skies and a beautiful start to the fall season. We'll top out at 73, a light south wind at around 10. Clear tonight and cool with a low down to 46. More of the same tomorrow. Will be mostly sunny with a high near 80. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We take our college football Saturdays so seriously at 93.7 The Ticket that one post-game show simply isn't enough. Join Husker Hall of Famer Jay Foreman and DP for The Ticket postgame. 90 minutes following each Nebraska game at Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. They'll break down the game from their vantage point and bring in special guests as well, with giveaways to listeners who drop by. It's The Ticket postgame with Jay Foreman and DP at Tanner's Bar and Grill. Sponsored by Action Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning and Vinny Kreekak of State Farm Insurance.
Now that Ken Richards has purchased Broker's Agency, he and his professional staff will continue to provide their clients with the same excellent service under the Broker's Insurance Agency name. Broker's Insurance Agency works with more than 15 companies to help find the best policy for you to avoid any long hassles. Also, if you're looking to get into the insurance business as an independent agent, they have the formula to make that process smooth and successful. Call Ken with Broker's Insurance Agency today at 402-420-5353 or visit brokersinsuranceNE.com.
Are you dragging through each day? Most people are dehydrated or deficient in essential vitamins, minerals, and more. Live Hydration Spa helps you get more out of your life with their IV hydration treatments to help with anti-aging, weight loss, endurance, and more. Their performance packages can help you feel better doing your normal daily routine with boosts of energy and vitality, an increase in immunity, and quicker athletic recovery. Call today for an appointment at 402-413-2042 or walk in at 71st and Pioneers. Live Hydration Spa.
For today's Husker Radio Report, I'm Sean Callahan of HuskerOnline.com. Well, it's official. Nebraska freshman running back Gabe Ervin Jr. is out for the season with a torn patella. He had his surgery on Tuesday, according to running backs coach Ryan Held.
He'll start rehab here as soon as tomorrow or maybe this afternoon. He's in really good spirits. I thought he had a really good start to his freshman year. He's a dog. I mean, he loves to compete, and I think he's going to have a bright future here.
And meanwhile, on the other side of the ball this week, the Huskers and Tony Tuiotti's crew on the defensive line is going to face arguably the best running back in the Big Ten this week in Kenneth Walker.
He's the best running back that we're going to face to this point. One of the best running backs in the country. Nearly averages a first down every time he touches the football. So he's definitely got our attention. The offense goes through him, and we got a great challenge ahead of us.
Walker currently leads the country in yards per game and yards per carry. Reporting with the Nebraska football team in Lincoln, I'm Sean Callahan of HuskerOnline.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. 93.7 The Ticket sports news go now.
I'm Enrique Alvarez-Clary. Nebraska football enters the heart of Big Ten play on Saturday when they head up north to the Woodshed to take on Michigan State. The Spartans' running game is led by Kenneth Walker III, who is currently leading the nation in rushing yards at 493 in 3 games, while averaging 8.6 yards per carry. Defensive coordinator Eric Chenander spoke yesterday about the challenges that Walker presents for the Blackshirts.
Obviously, he's a put together really well, explosive kid. He's going to challenge your leverage. And some of these guys, they want to get to the edge and get the ball upfield. He wants to challenge your leverage and make a cut and really go. Hasn't been a lot of single tackles on this guy, so a lot of hats need to get to the football. But obviously, he's leading the NCAA in rushing. I think he's got like 9 yards to carry.
That game in East Lansing kicks off at 6 p.m. on Saturday and can be seen on FS1. Nebraska volleyball opens up conference play today with a trip to Northwestern to take on the 5-6 Wildcats. The 12th-ranked Huskers are looking to break a 3-match losing streak when the game begins at 8 p.m. The match can be seen on BTN and heard on the Huskers Radio Network. And for all the latest sports news and updates, keep it tuned right here to 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is Tom and Bock, coming at you live from Coppell Chevrolet GMC Studios in the heart of Lincoln, America, on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Tom Stevens.
We failed, but I thought it was a great effort. I thought that the plan was laid out perfectly.
Jake Bockoven.
I'm not sure I get my point across properly. I'm sure I don't do a good job of explaining what I mean.
Tom and Bock starts now.
Hour number 3 of Tom and Bock. I'm Tom Stevens. He's Jake Bockoven. Question for you. Is this the biggest game of the Scott Frost era? Michigan State. This Saturday night, 6 o'clock, FS1. Because at the start of the year, we pointed to it. I think I did, as, you figure you're going to win that Illinois game, probably going to win the Illinois game, then the next 2, and lose to Oklahoma. And then it's going to be Michigan State. Maybe Oklahoma bought you a little time because you don't hear that much negative. I mean, people are negative regardless with Nebraska football, but there's some positivity coming off of last week, having played Oklahoma really close in Norman and probably should have won that game. So where does this rank now that you know Nebraska's 2-2 and the schedule ahead as far as must win?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's right up there with the other Mel Tucker games, to be honest with you. I think that those Colorado games are kind of tone setters. You'd probably take the one, the first year. I don't think you can have a huge game in first year because you kind of can just do whatever, and obviously Nebraska did start at 0-6 and then won 4 of the last final 6 there for not a great season, but all was forgiven and they were given preseason top 25. That's where I would say the only one that might compete with that is that Colorado game, because Nebraska basically had College Game Day lined up with Ohio State coming. If they would have beat Colorado in that year when they were top 25, and that would have hyped up that game a little bit more, maybe more belief in Nebraska. So that's the only other one that I can really think of other than Illinois, which obviously turned the wrong way for Nebraska too. So I mean, this is basically a chance at a redemption from that Illinois game, where the Illinois game was supposed to be the tone setter for the season. Everybody can look away from that. Okay, that's one, you lost one you're not supposed to. Now go win one you're not supposed to. And though Michigan State at the beginning of the year was one that you were supposed to, now it's flipped. So you got to go and win that one.
Yeah, I think had you won the Illinois game or beaten Oklahoma, that buys you even more time. And it does help that you played Oklahoma well. So maybe that's almost as better than, a win against Illinois and a blowout loss to Oklahoma. At least you have some hope that you can compete with the Oklahomas of the world. But Nebraska needs to go on the road and beat a team that they're actually 9-2 against over the last 11 games. Nebraska under Bo Pelini did very well against Michigan State, won some big games. We think back to 2015. And then before that, Kirk Cousins, I think the last big win for Scott Frost, could you make the argument it is 9-6 versus Michigan State at home?
Probably his best win.
Yeah, that's probably his best win. A field goal kicking contest with, you're using a kicker this week that's struggling. So I don't think that's necessarily going to happen this week. But I do think that this is such a huge game. And I know we say that, maybe oversay that. Because, if you win or you lose, it seems like the next game is always the next most important game. But this is something we pointed to for a while, saying, man, if you're going to get to 6, possibly 7 or 8, you better beat Michigan State in East Lansing. That was probably at a point where we thought Michigan State's not that good. Now it turns out they're 3-0, and they have one of the better coaches in the entire league in Mel Tucker, and a guy that has beaten you once before, if you're Scott Frost, as you mentioned, at Colorado. So this feels like if you could get this one, by the way, a team that's ranked in the top 20.
Yeah.
I think it's been a long time since Nebraska's played back-to-back top 20 opponents. But now Michigan State is in the top 20. This would be a huge feather in the cap of this program.
Well, and it's because that 9-6 victory of Michigan State is the best victory for Scott Frost thus far. There's going to be lots of opportunities this year to get your best win as a program under Frost, but this is that first one, and you got to take advantage of a few of these. And this is maybe right up there with the most gettable one. Iowa, Wisconsin, you feel like you can compete with those teams. Ohio State is in a down year. Maybe you can steal that one. But Michigan State's still kind of, they're top 25, but they just got there, and they're still coming off of a year where they didn't play too well, a few years where they haven't, it hasn't been that Spartan dog football, that Spartan dog defense, and the Michigan States, the Connor Cooks and the Kirk Cousins of the world that we've seen. Now they look like they've got that offense back, but Nebraska, is coming off that Oklahoma game. And it's interesting to hear, whether it's from Hondo or just from other people around, that Michigan State people were very impressed with the way that Nebraska played against Oklahoma
and more worried,
pretty worried about this game. And I think that's part of the reason why there's been so much hype. They're going to have the stripe out. They bring back the woodshed moniker. They know this is on national TV, FS1, but still night game in East Lansing. They're hyping this game up. And I've said this, and I agree with everybody that I said it to, that it's somewhat a turning point for both programs. Now, for Mel Tucker, it's early in his tenure, and they're, it's not necessarily a turning point. They can win back this game if they lose it, but it certainly halts the momentum that they have, which they have one of the, the most momentum in college football right now, gliding into the top 25 from where they were last year. They look dramatically improved and look like a contender in the Big Ten early, but if Nebraska can knock them off that mantle, it'll be a big feather in Nebraska's camp, and Michigan State will fall in the top 25.
It kind of feels like Mel Tucker knows how important this game is. I mean, he's talked a lot about not selling your tickets to Nebraska fans this week, which he did at Colorado as well. I mean, he tends to make that point. But I think there's some concern about Nebraska. You have to, turn on the Nebraska-Oklahoma game and say either one of two things. Oklahoma just isn't very good. Maybe you believe that, and maybe Mel Tucker thought that, but coaches don't think that way anyway. Oklahoma's not very good, or Nebraska's really pretty good. I don't see how you could come away with a conclusion any different from one or the other. I don't anyway. 464-5685. Connor Culp needs a better pre-shot routine. He's talking golf now. When was the last time Nebraska beat a top 25 team on the road?
Ooh,
was Michigan State ranked in 2012. Was that 2012?
2011, but
2011.
a long time
the
ago
Jamal
they were.
in
2012. I see. Yeah, that was
at
2012,
home.
yeah.
They beat Kirk Cousins, but that was here.
Yeah, that was home. So 2012 was on the road. I think that was
2015 was 2015 was on at home. The 39-38.
He was running through Michigan State victories because that's the only top 25 teams Nebraska can beat.
But Nebraska's beaten them most of the time. I mean, since they joined the league, they're 9-2.
Yeah.
We think of
that's overall. That's not since the league, right? I mean, that's a lot of games.
That's right. That's right. They've been in the league, but they've only lost 2 games total in the series. So they played a lot of games since 2000. Well, of course they're the crossover, right? So yeah, they weren't playing them every
and
year.
I wish they were back in the Legends Leaders days. They were in the same division, and they were having great games. It was starting in those at those times. Nebraska was somewhat relevant, and Michigan State was relevant. So I mean, they were kind of big games, important games every year. And then once they went back to the East-West thing, and Michigan State and Nebraska haven't played every year. It kind of hurt that thing, but they've always played good games. And maybe it says Nebraska fans, you feel that because Nebraska's came on top on those.
I did not know this. Maybe you did, Bock, but the text line says this. Not sure if you guys saw this, but Michigan State is having Mike Sadler and Sam Foltz's parents, their families on the field before the game.
Yeah, it's a nice thing that they're going to do. I did see that. And I think it's the first time that they have an opportunity since the incident to host Nebraska. So I think too that's always going to
be a part of this series.
Be a part of the series and be part of a mutual respect between the fan bases.
Definitely. That's the case. I think Sadler was well loved at Michigan State as well. Kenneth Walker, in case you didn't know, he's really good. He's averaging 164 yards per game and 5 TDs. And unlike Oklahoma, that likes to run it side to side, a little bit east to west, Michigan State's going to pound it at you. Every time I hear Mel Tucker talk, it feels like he's talking about somebody's manhood and questioning their manhood. He's a man's man. I think he's a very good coach, but it feels like the stuff that he preaches on a daily basis, he kind of lives it. He just feels like that kind of dude. It was weird that Hondo talked about his lack of loyalty to Colorado, and he wouldn't be surprised if he moved on to Michigan State.
Yeah,
that was a little weird. And maybe he is that guy that wants to move around. But
it's an interesting move to go to Colorado to Michigan State. I know you got more money, and of course there's more security in the Big Ten than where Colorado's at. But that's and I have to pause myself a little bit because I do think Michigan State's a top 25 program of all time. They're like fringe top 25. People don't realize that, but I think the money did a lot, but it still seems like somewhat of a lateral move. So it was a bit of a surprise.
Text line says this: Kenneth Walker was a 2-star. Hey, Samari Toure was not recruited at all.
Yeah.
Went to Montana, and now he's a big star. I do think that if anybody could ever crack the recruiting code, Bock, and just get to know what personality style, because a lot of times you're taking a guy or not taking a guy because he's a half inch too small and a tenth of a second too slow in the 40. It feels like if you could ever break the code on heart and ever figure that out,
measure a man's heart.
Yeah, heart recruiting. That's the website I'm starting.
Oh, there
heart
you go.
Recruiting.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about his athletic talent. Here's what I'll tell you about his heart.
He's got heart.
He likes
you better tell how much milk he's drinking because those bones can snap too. The heart's not the only thing that's going to be important.
I'm just dealing with the heart part. That'll be my part of the business. They got
to find a niche. Yeah.
I think that's going to be the next step in recruiting is guys taking more sophisticated exams, even sometimes not knowing it in recruiting because so many mistakes. Think of all the mistakes, even as good as the recruits were, the mistakes that have happened with Nebraska football, just over the last 3 years. And, COVID's partly to blame for that. I think, sometimes guys did get homesick, but man, if you could have mastered recruiting over the first 3 years, as far as personalities and what guys are going to stay and what guys are not going to stay at Nebraska, that's a business I think Scott Frost might invest in.
Well, it's crazy. I mean, recruiting's always fun. It's about even coaches are happy if you get like a 50% hit rate of guys that are playing, regular starters or, let alone, all Big Ten type of guys. You need to have a little bit better there. But I mean, it's a difficult business. And if anybody ever figured out an exact science to it, they'd be very rich people.
Yeah. Definitely. And people are trying to do that. You're seeing, I think some schools invest in, the psychology, the profile, and just questionnaires that coaches can ask players over the phone just based on personality. What do you like to do? Do you hang out with your girlfriend? What do you do on the weekends? You live in the basement? Okay, that's good. That type of thing.
Can you imagine, though, you answer a couple of those questions wrong, you let him go, and he goes as an all-star somewhere? It's just...
Which happens all the time. I mean, we remember the Marshall Faulk stories. Wanted to come to Nebraska, but Nebraska wanted him as a running back or as a defensive back. Defensive back. And, the Barry Sanders is too small stories. Those are great stories.
No, they make me feel not too well, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we could have had Barry Sanders. That's, you kind of kick yourself thinking about some of those stories. Anyway, good stuff on Michigan State, 464-565-5685. We'd love to hear from you either on the Sartor-Heyman text line or the Honda of Lincoln hotline. Chris Basnett, who usually joins us at about 11:30 on Wednesdays, moved his time. I think he had some presser obligations. And so we'll talk to Chris coming up next on Tom and Bock.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. This is Tom and Bock.
Listening to this Allstate commercial about savings might be the hardest thing about getting those savings. Save for simply becoming an Allstate customer. Save more for adding DriveWise. And save even more for driving safely. Visit Allstate.com or contact your local agent for a quote today. Allstate. Minimum effort, maximum reward.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. Drive-bys is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
At Mountain Dew, we support the best and baddest disaster relief group in America, Team Rubicon. To show our support of Team Rubicon, Mountain Dew put in $1 million. And now you can help Team Rubicon too. Look for specially marked Team Rubicon bottles of Mountain Dew, Diet Mountain Dew, and Mountain Dew Zero Sugar. Enter for a chance to win weekly prizes at MountainDewTR.com and donate to Team Rubicon. You'll earn exclusive rewards when you do. No purchase necessary. U.S. residents 18 and older. Subject to rules at MountainDewTR.com. Ends 10/3/2020.
This is a Broncos Radio Network update.
Touchdown, Denver! How about that? I like that!
And the Broncos are going to be 2-0 to start a season with both games being on the road for the first time since 2003.
Broncos insider Brandon Cristal. That was Dave Logan's final call on the Broncos Radio Network. They go into Jacksonville, take care of the Jags 23-13. Another big day from QB Teddy Bridgewater, 28-34. 328 yards, a pair of TDs to wideout Tim Patrick and tight end Noah Fant. And maybe he's found a new favorite target.
Teddy steps up, deep ball down the middle of the field. He's got Sutton there, and Sutton makes the catch inside the 20-yard line.
That was for 54 yards. Cortland Sutton, 9 catches, 159 on the day. Von Miller would have the lone sack. And the Broncos defense would also intercept rookie Trevor Lawrence twice, including one from top pick Pat Surtain Jr. The Broncos host the Jets next Sunday.
This is Brad Moline, president of Allo Communication. I'm proud to say that Allo is supporting the FCC's Emergency Broadband Benefit Program. We are committed to bringing high-quality internet to everyone in our fiber communities. If you qualify for federal support or have been financially impacted during the pandemic, you may receive free 500 megabit internet from Allo. To find out more, please stop by the Allo store or go to allofiber.com/EBB.
State Farm, this is Bill.
It finally got me, Bill.
What's that, Rick?
The Clark Street crater, the mother of all potholes.
Oh.
Year after rim-wrecking year, it's tormented the people of this town. It got me good.
But you know, State Farm's got you too.
You hear that? You ain't nothing.
You trash talking a pothole?
Yes, I am.
Go with the one that's here to help life go right. State Farm.
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krekak, at 402-474-1173.
This is your High School Minute.
With your Southeast Community College High School Minute, I'm Nick Sainers. In high school basketball, Creighton Prep forward Luke Younger's committed to UNO on Sunday. Back on the football field on Friday night, number 1 Bellevue West fell at home to Millard South 42-24. In the first half alone, Millard South scored touchdowns of 16, 60, 65, and 70 yards, and only allowed 7 Thunderbird points in the second half. Lincoln Southeast lost on the road at number 6 Creighton Prep 41-7. Prep running back Charmar Brown led all ball carriers with 12 carries and 87 yards while finding the end zone twice. On the other side, Husker football commit Jake Applegate had 8 receptions for 131 yards and a score for Lincoln Southeast. And lastly, in Class B action, Norris hosted Omaha Roncalli on Friday evening. The Titans were able to get on top early and never looked back, topping Roncalli 44-0 and improving to 2-2 on the season. Norris moves on to face Beatrice this Friday night. This has been your High School Minute, sponsored by Southeast Community College, with locations in Lincoln, Beatrice, and Milford. Learn more today at southeast.edu.
Hey, sports fans. Rico here with HIS Auto Care 70th and Van Dorn. Carfax recently awarded us as a top-rated auto service center for 2020, and Lincoln Choice Awards voted us as the 2021 top independent auto repair center. Call us at 402-488-8934 for superior service bumper to bumper. Mention this ad and get 7% off. Doesn't get any better than that. Rico for his Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Want a free pair of Nebraska football tickets? Head to theticketfm.com's contest tab and register for a free pair of tickets each week of a home game, courtesy of Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of Woods Brothers and 93.7 The Ticket.
Hi, I'm Charlie Stone, and joining me is Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, are you there?
Yes, I am, Charlie.
Andy, when people drive by your lot, they don't see as many new Hondas as normal, but I'm told you have hundreds on the way.
We sure do, Charlie. We have more than 500 to choose from that are either here or on the way. Most of them are inbound.
Do you still have that great financing, Andy?
We do, as low as 0% APR financing on select new Honda.
What about used cars and trucks?
Well, right now we have more than 120 pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs, and just about any make or model. And we have over 50 certified pre-owned Hondas to choose from.
Andy, that is really great news for your customers. Come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business, 27th and Yankee Hill, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
No doubt about it, a water softener saves you money. Don't have one? Call the plumbers at Bryant. Just one call and no arm-twisting contracts. For a free estimate, call 467-1111 or go to bryantlincoln.com.
One host has a red beard and thinning hair. The other also has a red beard and thinning hair. One host got married over the summer. So did the other one. One is a diehard fan of a sub-500 AL Central baseball team. So is the other. Can these two radio hosts do a show together without getting confused as to their own identity? The same couple. Happer and Schaefer. Weekday mornings from 8 to 11 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. You're listening to Tom and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back. It is Tom and Bock on your Wednesday, W-I-N-S-D-A-Y.
I don't think it's an I.
W-I-N.
No I. No. Wednesday. Win? Like a victory?
Win. Wednesday.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
Win. Win. You get it?
Oh, I see. I get it now. Yeah,
You
we're
get
going to
it,
win
Chris?
this week.
You get it, Chris? Wednesday.
Every day's Wednesday when you're Tom Stevens.
That's
am I right?
That's right. It's pretty much my life is just perfect. Hey, are you going to the woodshed this weekend?
I am not going to the woodshed this weekend. I get enough of taking Sipple to the woodshed every other weekend, so I'm taking the weekend off this week.
Where did that come? Have you heard of that for a long time, the woodshed, or is that something? They say it's been around for a long time, but I don't remember hearing it before. Do you?
Yeah, well, as it pertains to Michigan State, I think Nick Saban used to use it when he was at Michigan State. So I've got an old colleague, an old coworker from my days in Missouri who used to like to say teams are getting taken to the woodshed, and he would hashtag woodshed, and that kind of became his thing. So I'm gonna start using it more often, I think, one way or the other.
Where does this rank? Because we think this is one that I think you picked very highly as being important before the season, that you kind of need to win, even if you thought you were going to beat Illinois to start the season. But knowing that Nebraska is playing 5 of the next 8 opponents, I think all ranked 5 of the 8. Doesn't this feel almost like a must-win?
Yeah, it's kind of what we've talked about before. Yeah, every game's a big one when you're in Nebraska right now, and this one certainly, like you said, it was big. I think most people probably realized it was big before the season started, just because of where it fell on the schedule. And now it's big for other reasons, right? Michigan State's turned out to be a really good team. That game's a lot more difficult than probably a lot of us were expecting it to be. It comes before, like you said, a really difficult stretch to end the season. 5 ranked teams out of your 8 opponents. You're just in the middle of playing how many consecutive weeks without a bye. It's huge, and it's huge too because of what Nebraska did last weekend against Oklahoma, giving themselves a chance in the fourth quarter. Was Oklahoma maybe overrated a little bit at number 3? Yeah, maybe, probably, but guess what? You still performed pretty admirably against a pretty good team. So now can you take that momentum into another week and maybe get over the top in a game that if you do win it, all of a sudden you've got some momentum and all of a sudden you've maybe got a little different outlook for the rest of the year.
What do you think the ceiling is for this defense? Obviously a great performance against Oklahoma, but when you run through the stats, nothing's too impressive or near the top 25 except for their points per game. Do you think this defense has a chance to get significantly better throughout the season, a lot of those categories?
I think they have a chance to improve, yeah. And they said as much after the Oklahoma game. I thought that was something that really stuck with me after that game is, a lot of the guys said, yeah, we played all right. We gave ourselves a chance, but, we don't want good. We want great. I think Ben Stille actually had the quote, we're not after great. So that tells you that they think they can get better too. And I think they can. You could rush the quarterback a little better, maybe get a few more sacks. You can always force a few more turnovers here and there. So, yeah, certainly there's areas where Nebraska's defense can get better, and any defense would probably tell you the same thing. But let's be honest, too. That has been a strength of this team so far. And it's given Nebraska a chance. Gave Nebraska a chance against Oklahoma. If it plays well Saturday, Nebraska's going to have a chance against Michigan State too.
Before the season, Chris Bassett of the Lincoln Journal-Star, we might have said Adrian was the most important player. Not everybody was saying he was the best player. That probably was going to go to Cam Taylor-Britt. Now you're back to saying not only is he the most important, he's the best player on this team, right?
Yeah, he's played great, and it's a credit to him for getting himself in the right space physically, mentally, whatever else to be great this year. He's got better weapons around him. There's no question around that. There's no question about that, especially tight end, receiver, running backs look like they're coming along. But yeah, that's a guy this is the guy we've been waiting on since his freshman year. We've been waiting for him to reappear, and we've seen it in flashes, but not consistently. But yeah, he's been really, really, really good. He's been great, and you could argue he outplayed Spencer Rattler last week, who's like a top pick in the NFL draft coming up after the season. So yeah, he's without a question their most important player, and certainly I think without a question right now he's been their best player through the first 4 games.
Now, I talked about the defense and how their total the points per game looks good while everything else doesn't look as good. The offense is kind of reverse of that, where their points per game isn't very good, but all those other categories are looking pretty good, which leads me to another fascinating. I think one of the most fascinating parts of this game is what's field goal range going to look like for Nebraska, because Connor Culp just hit his career long. He can hit 50-yarders, but he's struggling hitting just anything right now. Do you think Scott will still have faith in him, if you're lining up for a 50-yarder once again?
It's the biggest question, I think, or one of the biggest questions going into Saturday is if it gets down to it, does Nebraska trust his kicker to make a big kick, to go ahead, to kick an extra point to give you the lead late in the game? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that right now. That's such a fickle position, as you guys know. I often, and I've done it before on this show, compared it to being a golfer and you're standing over a 2-foot putt and you just don't have any confidence you're going to make it. It's hard to get out of that mental state when you're in it. And you feel bad for Connor Culp because we all know how good he is. He was a Big Ten Kicker of the Year last year. Clearly he has the ability to do it and the talent to do it. But for whatever reason, it's just not working right now. It's not clicking. So you hope for Connor's case, he's able to get it straightened out going forward and able to be an asset for Nebraska going forward. But yeah, as far as this Saturday, I don't know what field goal range is. I don't know who they trot out there to try the field goal. Do you trot Connor Culp out there? Do you bring in Kellen Meyer or somebody else? I don't know what you do. That's a tough spot to be in for this team. It's just, it's funny because that's maybe one of the few spots where you didn't think you'd have to worry about anything going into the year. As odd as that is to say with Nebraska's special team struggles, you thought you were pretty set at place kicker, and now all of a sudden you have major struggles there and major question marks. So yeah, I don't know what field goal range is Saturday, and that's going to be something we really have to keep an eye on.
Do you feel like you know who this team is right now, Chris, after watching them both on the really good side in a loss and the really horrible side in a loss to Illinois? They were two totally different games. One, you felt like you kind of won. The other, you just stunk it up. But do you feel like you know who this team is?
I don't think so. Not yet. It's probably, like everything else, it's probably somewhere in the middle between those two, unless Nebraska starts to replicate what it did Saturday against Oklahoma every week out, then we're probably a little ways away from knowing what this team is yet. And that's not to say that's good, bad, or the other, but it's like you said, they've just had such diametrically opposite performances so far through 4 games. And they've shown some things. They've shown that they're probably going to be pretty good defensively. We talk about Adrian. He's been the best guy on offense, the best guy on the team, and has been a playmaker. But overall, yeah, I don't know if we know what this team is yet. And that's another part that makes this game so important Saturday is it's another test against a quality opponent. And if Nebraska plays well, gives itself a chance at the end, then you start to say, okay, maybe this team's got something here and has an identity going forward. But I need to see it for another week or another 2 weeks before I'm ready to decide what this team maybe is yet.
How big of a loss do you think Gabe Ervin is in that running back room? Clearly, nobody was kind of the lead back at that point, but if there was a guy that was consistently in the number 1 or number 2, it seemed to be Ervin.
Yeah, it's a loss, no doubt. And I think he was a guy that was starting to come into his own. He had the strong second half against Buffalo. On the run, he was hurt. If you go back and watch the tape, they had it set up, and he was going to break a big one there until he cut and buckled his knee, and that kind of bad luck's a whole other discussion. But I feel like he was a guy that was pretty close to figuring it out and maybe being a guy they could count on. But on the other hand, what this does is maybe makes Ryan Held's job and Scott Frost's job a little easier when it comes to decide who you put out there. Whether that's Marquise Stepp, Ramir Johnson, or somebody else. It kind of narrows your choices a little bit and narrows your focus a little bit. So yeah, it hurts. Obviously, that's a guy that we're counting on to be a starter for you and maybe be a guy that got a lot of carries, and he was showing promise. So that it hurts. It hurts for Gabe, and you feel bad for Gabe for what happened. But at the same time, on the other side of it, I think it will help narrow Nebraska's focus on the running game, maybe help them hone in on a lead back a little more.
Interesting that Scott Frost said they played Ramir in part because he practiced really well, and that's how they're going to get grade guys going through the season, but also that he hit the hole very quickly, and they knew that hitting the hole against a speed team like Oklahoma, would be very important, and it was in that game. I'm wondering going forward, you think based on the team, they just kind of switch it up? You expect there to be a revolving door at running back, or somebody like Ramir wins the job?
I think for right now, it's a revolving door, and just because it's been like that so far, and the coaches have made it clear that no one's really separated themselves. I think obviously Ramir brings a little different gear as far as top end speed to that position, and he certainly ran hard Saturday. There's no doubt about that. I think he earned more playing time going forward from the way he played. But Marquise Stepp has proven he can do it too, and Gabe Ervin had proven he could do it. Jaquez Yan has got some major size there. It can maybe help him out in some big packages. So yeah, for now, it's until we see, it's kind of like everything else with this team. Until we see that they've decided on a bell cow, I think you're going to see that revolving door continue in the backfield.
How do you think Nebraska, specifically on defense, matches up stylistically with Michigan State? Because it's different than what we saw against Oklahoma, where they had some success.
Yeah, it's very different, and that's another thing I'm going to be watching closely. If you watch how Kenneth Walker runs, the Michigan running back, he likes to kind of find the leverage and cut off the leverage and get upfield. And I'm interested to see how that, not to get too far into the weeds here, but I'm interested to see how that looks with Nebraska's defensive alignment, when you'll often see those outside linebackers split out a little wider as pass rushers and contain guys and those sorts of things. This is going to be a game for Nebraska where those defensive linemen really have to be good in their leverage and holding their assignments and playing their assignments. And the linebackers behind them having really good eyes and being able to stay home and be sound. This offense and the way they run the ball is going to test Nebraska's defensive structure, I think, in a way it hasn't been tested yet this year. So if Nebraska is able to stay disciplined, certainly they're going to have a chance to hold this offense down. But, we've seen it already out of Michigan State. If all that guy needs is a crease, and you can go 75 yards to the house. So Nebraska's going to going to have to be on its game, because I think Michigan State's going to stress that defense and the way it likes to line up a lot differently than other teams have this year.
They opened at 3.5 favorite, Michigan State. I think it moved to 5 yesterday. I don't even know where it is now, but how do you see this going down?
It's tough. I lean towards Michigan State because I think they have a lot of momentum. They got a night game at home, all the woodshed talk, and we need to keep Nebraska fans out. You go back to last year or a couple of years ago with Colorado, and Mel Tucker kind of had Scott Frost's number in the second half of that game. So I think Nebraska can win this game. I would not be surprised if they do win this game, but I think at the end of the day, Michigan State, the way they're playing right now, I think they squeak out a close one, maybe something like 28-24 or something like that.
Yeah, that feels like that could be right, but I don't know what to expect, really. I mean, that's Nebraska football for you. Hey, good stuff, Chris. We'll be talking Husker Hoops full bore pretty soon.
Let's go, boys. The season's almost here, and we're ready to roll, so let's do it.
There you go. Chris Bassnett of the Lincoln Journal-Star. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
Let's eat the leftovers, but I want to get to something. We were talking Nebraska basketball. Andy Katz has Nebraska as one of the under-the-radar considerations to make the NCAA tournament.
Hey, there you go.
Which is pretty cool when you consider they've won 7 games the first year, 7 games the second year, which by my math, even in a shortened COVID season, wasn't very good.
No.
Last
In fact,
year.
you could combine those 2 wins and they probably still wouldn't make the
That's
tournament.
right. They've not been good the last 2 years. So when I tell you that I think they're going to be good, you're going to roll your eyes probably. But there's Andy Katz saying it. I mean, he obviously has some cred, but that even it basically is saying you almost made it. You're one of the first 20 out. But still, he has the Big Ten as the best conference in the entire country again this year, with 9 automatic bids and 6 teams in the top 20. So it's going to be another really tough year in the Big Ten. So maybe that wouldn't be the worst year, knowing that you're coming off 2 really horrible years, even if you're on the cusp and you're in the NIT, I think I'd take that at this point.
Yeah, I'm fascinated. I know that there's talent there. You can talk about, you point to the 5-star or the Pac-12 6th man of the year. There's talent there, but how well is it going to mesh? Because, at times when you talk about the top end talent that Hoiberg's been able to get in those 2 years, it should have been better than 7 wins a year. Cam Mack had a couple, triple doubles. Banton is a drafted player in the NBA. They had another guy break the record for the points scored in a half. So you've had some talent here. How's it going to mesh? And hopefully they can figure that out this season. I think it'll be a bit, you'll see some growing pains, but hopefully by the end of the year, they're right in that tournament discussion.
Well, I was thinking, I went back and forth on Delano Banton being drafted he wasn't drafted, but he was picked up as a free agent.
He was drafted.
Oh, was he drafted?
Yeah, second round.
That's right. Second round. So he was drafted and now he's made an NBA. Well, we'll find out if he makes an NBA roster, but we didn't think that was a possibility until he started showing up at some of these G League events and shooting it pretty well. And I thought that's a big loss for Nebraska. And I thought not so much once they got Alonzo Verge.
Yeah. I think it's an upgrade for the collegiate player.
I do too. I think obviously I think that's exactly it. Banton's a better NBA prospect for the long haul. Kind of like a Ben Simmons, he'll learn how to shoot. I mean, Ben Simmons never has, but I think maybe Banton can. And if he picks up that time, they'll be patient with him. But for the college purposes, Alonzo Verge is a scorer.
Yeah.
And Delano Banton wasn't. So I like the fact that John Rothstein has rated him as one of the top 30 impact players for the 2021-22 season. He says, this is not hyperbole. Alonzo Verge could be one of the top scorers in the Big Ten this season. A lethal offensive threat. Verge scored 20 points or more on 12 separate occasions during his 2 years at Arizona State, highlighted by a 43-point performance against St. Mary's in 2019. That guy can score.
Yeah.
He showed up the first week, guys were saying, I mean, this is a real deal.
Yeah, and they have options too. I mean, he's not the only one. So I mean, I think that throughout the night, that seemed to be their problem. Last year you couldn't get a consistent third score or second score on some nights. I think that they have enough guys that somebody should be hot that night.
And sometimes obviously Teddy was taking a lot of those shots. He was a high volume shooter, and that you could see the offense addition by subtraction, because I think Teddy was a good player. But when he left, the offense, the ball seemed to move a little bit better.
Yeah.
And that was the big knock on Teddy Allen. I think he had to be that guy for a while, and he got used to it. But once the ball started to move and the spacing was better, Nebraska started to play pretty well. I thought Kobe Webster, especially down the stretch, played really well. Still waiting on Lat Mayan to find out.
I think more space, but this team should allow more space for him. And then, you bring on, Kobe on the floor. He can hit the three at times, but certainly, now I'm blanking on the name, the kid from Japan that they brought over.
Kishi Tamanaga.
Tamanaga. The space should be able to help Lat Mayan, so he's not the only threat from beyond the arc that people are worried about.
Hyperbole. You can say hyperbole. I know it's hyperbole.
Yeah.
But hyperbole I've heard as well, haven't you? Or not?
Yeah. I would go with hyperbole, but
I would probably go with hyperbole, but I went with hyperbole.
I think you're right. I've heard it before. I don't know if that's correct though.
That's because that's how it's spelled, and sometimes you say that. But I know it's hyperbole as well. I thought you could
say hyperbolic.
Hyperbolic. I could have gone that way.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Didn't please the text line. Sometimes that happens.
Say a lot of words throughout the day. Sometimes one or two of them are wrong.
I'm anxious to see how Teddy looks next year. Are you? But where is he? Where is he landing?
Yeah, I don't even know where he is.
Is he? He's in New Mexico. Is it New Mexico?
Yeah, I think
it's New Mexico. Now that I think
that's right. That's not a bad program.
Yeah, he'll be fine. The guy will score. I guarantee you that.
Yeah.
That's kind of what he does. Let's finish out the show and eat the leftovers next.
You're listening to Tom and Bock. Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch.
Hi, I'm Charlie Stone, and joining me is Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, are you there?
Yes, I am, Charlie.
Andy, when people drive by your lot, they don't see as many new Hondas as normal, but I'm told you have hundreds on the way.
We sure do, Charlie. We have more than 500 to choose from that are either here or on the way. Most of them are inbound.
Do you still have that great financing, Andy?
We do, as low as 0% APR financing on select new Honda.
What about used cars and trucks?
Well, right now we have more than 120 pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs, in just about any make or model. And we have over 50 certified pre-owned Hondas to choose from.
Andy, that is really great news for your customers. Come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business, 27th and Yankee Hill, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Expecting sunny skies and a beautiful start to the fall season. We'll top out at 73, a light south wind at around 10. Clear tonight and cool with a low down to 46. More of the same tomorrow. Will be mostly sunny with a high near 80. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey, sports fans. Rico here with HIS Auto Care 70th and Van Dorn. Carfax recently awarded us as a top-rated auto service center for 2020, and Lincoln Choice Awards voted us as the 2021 top independent auto repair center. Call us at 402-488-8934 for superior service bumper to bumper. Mention this ad and get 7% off. Doesn't get any better than that. Rico for his Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
No doubt about it, a water softener saves you money. Don't have one? Call the plumbers at Bryant. Just one call and no arm twisting contracts. For a free estimate, call 467-1111 or go to BryantLincoln.com.
Toys and sports collectibles, 6200 Havelock Avenue.
Hi, I'm Kevin with Sports Fantastic.
And I'm Daryl at Stop and Shop Funko Pop.
We have two of the best collectible stores in the coolest place in Lincoln, in Historic Havelock by Misty's. Sports Fantastic has tons of sports memorabilia for Huskers and other hard-to-find teams.
And Stop and Shop Funko Pop has all your Funko and anime needs. It's your one-stop shop on one block at 6200 Havelock.
6200 Havelock Avenue.
Get your touchdown tan in Max Tan with unlimited tanning until 2022, starting at just $59. Summer may be over, but your tan doesn't have to be. Tan for the season, football season, at any of the 4 local Lincoln Max Tan locations. Supporting local is the name of the game at Max Tan.
Want a free pair of Nebraska football tickets? Head to theticketfm.com's contest tab and register for a free pair of tickets each week of a home game, courtesy of Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of Woods Brothers and 93.7 The Ticket.
The weather has changed, and now it's time to adjust your footwear to change along with it. Stop into Brown's Shoe Fit at 66th and Q to get ready for cooler temperatures and fashion trends. They're stocked with Hey Dudes, Brooks, New Balance, Danner boots, Keen or Merrill hiking boots, and plenty of other options. Plus, they have Nordic beach jackets and Bindle tumblers to take to the gym with your new athletic shoes. So get to Brown's Shoe Fit today at 66th and Q.
Tractor Supply Distribution Center in Waverly is now hiring for all shifts. They're a 24/7 facility and a clean environment to work in. There's potential to earn up to $25.25 per hour with opportunities for overtime. They also offer a retention bonus as new team members are eligible for a bonus as high as $1,000. Come be a part of the Tractor Supply team. Apply today at www.tractorsupply.jobs.
Hey, it's Sean Callahan, and football season is here, and there is one place that has all the games, plus great food and beer specials. Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. Whether it's Thursday night football, college football Saturdays, NFL Sundays, or Monday night football, there's a great view of the game from any seat with different food and drink specials every night. Try the Blue Ribbon Reuben Sandwich or the Prime Rib French Dip or any of their famous chicken wings. That's Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill.
This is a Broncos Radio Network update.
Touchdown, Denver! How about that? I like that!
And the Broncos are going to be 2-0 to start a season with both games being on the road for the first time since 2003.
Broncos insider Brandon Cristal. That was Dave Logan's final call on the Broncos Radio Network. They go into Jacksonville, take care of the Jags 23-13. Another big day from QB Teddy Bridgewater, 28-34. 328 yards, a pair of TDs to wideout Tim Patrick and tight end Noah Fant. And maybe he's found a new favorite target.
Teddy steps up, deep ball down the middle of the field. He's got Sutton there, and Sutton makes the catch inside the 20-yard line.
That was for 54 yards. Cortland Sutton, 9 catches, 159 on the day. Von Miller would have the lone sack. And the Broncos defense would also intercept rookie Trevor Lawrence twice, including one from top pick Pat Surtain Jr. The Broncos host the Jets next Sunday.
You're listening to Tom and Bock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Final moments of Tom and Bock. Happy anniversary. 14 years ago today, Mike Gundy said this.
If you want to go after an athlete, one of my athletes, you go after one that doesn't do the right things. You don't downgrade him because he does everything right and may not play as well on Saturday. And you let us make that decision. That's why I don't read the newspaper. Because it's garbage. And the editor that let it come out is garbage. Attacking an amateur athlete for doing everything right. Are you kidding me? Where are we at in society today? Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40. I'm not a kid. Write something about me or our coaches.
It was so staged. Now that I hear it now, I thought that was just off the cuff. That was staged. Yeah.
That sounds like a WWE promo.
Oh,
that's awesome.
It's absolutely. He should have been in the. He could be in the WWE, but
he's that bullet.
He's making $4 million, $5 million a year right now doing what he's doing. So I think he's probably made the right decision. Do we have the leftovers? Let's eat them. Here we go. I mentioned that it was a highly ranked game. Are you surprised that Nebraska-Oklahoma was third in that? Not surprised that Alabama, Florida, number one as far as viewership in college football. Auburn, Penn State, second. Nebraska, Oklahoma, third. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I just think the time slot, it's hard to get over that. Again, if they were put for that ABC primetime matchup, they'd be second. It's just hard to beat that 2:30 Alabama-Florida, especially you got number one team in the nation. Florida really hyped that game up, and it was a good game.
It was a really good game. Both really good games, obviously. The Monday Night Football presentation with Peyton and Eli Manning increased their viewership by 138% from week one when they had a better game in week one. But this game, Green Bay versus Detroit, drew almost 2 million viewers. It was a thriller between the Ravens and the Raiders, and it drew 800,000 the first week, I should say.
Yeah.
But it was a ratings bonanza for ESPN2.
What'd you say, like the highest ranked what is it called?
They're calling it the highest ranking non-football type,
It's like non-main broadcast.
Non-main broadcast. Oh, yeah. They're calling it the top-rated alternate ESPN programming broadcast.
You know, I watched it for a little bit, and I just, some things that you just don't get. And I understand how they're entertaining. I just still prefer the traditional two guys in a booth talking football to me. That's my preference. If I want to talk with just some guys, I can have some guys over in my living room.
I don't mind it that way if it's a game like that.
Right.
That I don't care about. I mean, I hate Green Bay. I don't like Detroit. I mean, if it's a close game, maybe I'm tuning in. But if it's a bad game like it was, I need the side entertainment to get by that game.
I'll just change it to something entertaining, I guess.
That's probably speaking entertaining. The NBA is entertaining, but it looks like Ben Simmons will not report to training camp for his current team, the 76ers, but he's acting like it's his former team already. Would you want Ben Simmons on our team, the Celtics?
Yeah, he's a 3-time All-Star. I'd want him on his team. I don't want to pay that amount of money. I'd rather have him understand his role. You can't even play him. Doc Rivers didn't play him late in those playoff games because he couldn't hit his free throws.
34% from the free throw line.
And Doc Rivers went on national TV today. With all this Ben Simmons stuff going on, I think they're trying to push him out the door as well. He's not a guy I would lead my franchise with, and with that contract, I wouldn't touch him.
What do you think happened to him? Because he was not that bad of a shooter.
Yeah.
He was a decent, he shot 70+% some years in the NBA. And then he gets to the playoffs, he can't make a free throw. He can't make a shot. He won't take a layup.
That's what's scary.
I've never seen that happen.
Gets on him, yeah.
I've never seen that happen to that extent that I can remember in the NBA.
And he knows, and it's just he knows that that's his weakness, and so you kind of get scared out of the moment. You'd like to see guys rise up and take it. Like Russell Westbrook's not always a great shooter, but he'll sure shoot it, and that will get him in trouble sometimes.
Yeah,
but
Russell has no fear of shooting.
Yeah,
even though sometimes it's a three, and he's not a great 3-point shooter, but sometimes he makes them if he gets hot. He's been known to do that. Good stuff from the Omaha World Herald. There are 6 Big Ten teams allowing opponents less than 6 yards per pass. Only one of those teams has played Oklahoma. Want to guess who that was?
Nebraska.
Nebraska's defense has allowed just 2 pass plays of 30 yards or longer in 133 attempts. The pass defense is really good. It's been very good, and you don't even have a pass rush.
Yeah, that's what makes it even more impressive.
Yeah.
And you're not getting interceptions. So they're just doing good at limiting the big plays.
They missed, 2 interceptions, maybe 3 interceptions in that game. But otherwise, we came into the game. I think we came into the season thinking that the secondary would be the strength, or at least one of the strengths of this team. It certainly is.
Yeah, and I think it's going to continue that way against Michigan State. Got to watch out for the play action more than the traditional passing game this week.
Any sports on to talk about tonight?
No, I don't think so. No, it's Wednesday.
Wednesday night football.
Enjoy your social life, I guess.
We'll have to wait till tomorrow night. We're out. The happy hour is next. It's Tom and Bock. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Tractor Supply Distribution Center in Waverly is now hiring for all shifts. They're a 24/7 facility and a clean environment to work in. There's potential to earn up to $25.25 per hour with opportunities for overtime. They also offer a retention bonus as new team members are eligible for a bonus as high as $1,000. Come be a part of the Tractor Supply team. Apply today at www.tractorsupply.jobs.
Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcomed animals. Let the experts at Bats to Rats take care of those problems. Dane has been a leader in wildlife and pest management and prevention in Lincoln and the surrounding area for 15 years. He can help you get rid of bats, rodents, and anything else. Whether it's residential or commercial buildings, schools, apartments, or churches, they're always a phone call away. Call today at 402-310-0904 or visit batstorat.com.